Over the last 23 years, Aubrey Graham has broken records, broken hearts, touched on, kissed on, sucked on, licked on. He don't give a to many of fans. But there's something about Drake that sets him apart from other rappers. Whether he's wearing an erotic watch to a courtside NBA game, or putting hot sauce in his condoms after using them, there's so much to discuss about Drake. And today, I'm here to go through it all.
Hit that beat. I'm black and Jewish, don't be so foolish. I'm black and Jewish, it's a mitzvah. Please don't forget I'm black. Please don't forget I'm Jewish. I play ball like LeBron and I know what a W2 is.
Oh man, look at this. What's up, fool? You got beef? Yeah, you stupid. You stupid.
Ew.
Don't worry, be happy. Zoloft, North America's #1 antidepressant medication.
Hey fellas, you wanna play?
Jimmy, I love you. You're so hot.
Yeah.
Put him in.
Let's get it tricky, people love to diss me, I hit.
Man, the hell with him. I ain't worried about Drake. I don't see Drake in the parking lot.
Dennis Graham was touring in Toronto with the man who married his 13-year-old cousin, stopping by at a nightclub to perform. There, he met Sandy, the bartender, and they struck it off when Dennis asked for some cigarettes. They developed a close relationship, with the two getting married in 1985, leading to the birth of Aubrey Graham 1 year later on October 24th of 1986. Drake inherited his musical curiosity from his father, who had his own band back in the day, playing as their lead drummer and vocalist. By 1991, problems began to arise in the household and the pair split up, with Sandy receiving full custody, so his daddy was not around, spending most of his time in Memphis, where the two did share summers together before Dennis got incarcerated on drug-related charges 2 separate times. Drake often went to visit his father in jail, who shared a cell with a rapper named Poverty. Who would want to listen to a rapper named Poverty? None other than Drake himself. They'd started spitting verses at each other, and kept in contact even when his father got out. He was inspired by 3-6 Mafia, Yo Gotti, and the Memphis Sound, along with superstars like Aaliyah, Kanye West, Michael Jackson, and Jay-Z.
Yo, boss ain't golden gates. Those who fake, they break. When they meet their 400-pound weight, if I could rule the world, everyone would.
In January of 2024, Dennis Graham was allowed into Canada after 15 long years of being denied access into it, with rumors floating around that Drake had something to do with it, since it wasn't the first time he's ever done something like that. But a divorce doesn't really bar you from a country. So, what did? It was over some minor drug charges and child support that just wasn't paid. Damn. Boo-hoo. Sad story. Just another Dennis Graham story. One where he showed up in Drake's life a handful of times, something claimed by Drake throughout his early music. However, Dennis adamantly denied these absent father claims, saying his son was just trying to sell records. Drake responded with an Instagram story, being hurt by the words of his father, and dismissed it all, saying he only spoke the truth, and sometimes the truth is hard for people to swallow. Well, the truth is, the apple doesn't really fall far from the tree, with Drake and Dennis Graham both being creepy individuals in their own right, attending strip clubs together, father-son duo style, and groping women as they kind of please.
While we're there, he's just being super, handsy and weird. He said some, really strange comments, which that's kind of what started leading us to be like, okay, this guy's odd.
They've gotten tattoos of each other, each looking a bit uglier than the other. But the Drake backshot was especially uneasy to look at, with Drake calling out the tattoo artist for doing him dirty. But the tattoo artist was having none of it, saying his dad rushed him and that everyone was digging it besides Drake. Dennis is a disturbing sort of guy, But his ex-wife Sandra Graham is actually a pretty sweet person, having worked as both an English teacher and as a florist, passing her Ashkenazi Jewish heritage down to Drake, enrolling him into a Jewish day school, taking him to synagogues, and overall trying to be the best single mother she could be in a pretty demanding city. Sandra enrolled him into tap and ballet courses. He performed in school plays. She even threw a bar mitzvah for Drake in an Italian restaurant, which he particularly didn't like, hosting his own version for the music video of Hell Yeah, Right. Early into his career, many would often approach Drake claiming his Jewish background could take him far beyond most rappers.
My mother is Jewish, and you know we have great Jewish dinners like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
First text message you ever sent me. Good Shabbos.
Yep, good Shabbos.
He kept it real.
Yep.
Have you gotten approached yet by like the Jewish media yet?
No, I haven't gotten approached by the Jewish media, but somebody today, who I won't mention, was like, you know how big you're gonna be? And I was like,
wait, was that me 5 minutes ago? I remember saying that.
Somebody's like, you know how big you're gonna be? And he's like, this has never happened before. It's like every Jew is going to just like really embrace.
Well, here's the thing.
Sandra was a working class mother coming from a pretty successful background of factory owners, having worked her way up from Weston Road to Forest Hills in a shared living situation that Drake claimed wasn't luxurious, but what they could afford at the time. It was a pretty ordinary room, filled with shoeboxes, clothes, but you could feel his love of music through the collection of CDs, mixtapes, and the makeshift recording studio he set up. On a further family note, his uncles Artini Hodges and Larry Graham, a man with a golden voice and former bass player, most notable for his song One in a Million You, which charted back in the 80s. Both Larry Graham and Drake have talked about their relationship with one another, with Drake looking up to him as inspiration, furthering his love for music. Drake went to an art school, something he's actually quite proud of and doesn't wish to hide. Most of the students there were trying to become actors. They were trust fund babies, flying private jets, spending their daddy's money, but life for a young Aubrey was not easy. He was bullied in school, his parents were divorced, his mother was very, very sick, and the only source of income they had was all banking on Drake's acting career. Sandra eventually got surgery on her spine, having to reinforce it, which some Twitter idiot hoped would go wrong. Why? But now she's healthier than ever, often being seen on some of Drake's music videos, Instagram appreciation posts, and at his concerts, always supporting her boy.
Just
Where's my sandwich? I'm so hungry.
I didn't buy you that sandwich.
Why?
Because I bought chicken salad. I'll make you a sandwich. I bought some other things.
Why couldn't you just got me that sandwich?
Because the lineup was incredible.
Hey, can you please get me a tuna sandwich?
Oh, I thought you were kidding. Because you don't.
Oh, yeah, because
you don't.
I definitely pull a joke, joking about a tuna sandwich that I wanted.
You like chicken salad.
I'm just a regular comedian over here. Get me a tuna sandwich, Just joking.
From a young age, Drake did anything to be loved by those he was enamored with, evidenced by his music where he yearns for women who rejected him, but it also comes from wanting to be accepted. During his time in art school, he filmed an anti-bullying campaign for his drama class, where kids made fun of him and put erotic magazines in his locker, all because he wanted to be down with a guy named David Randell, otherwise known as Tim, the hot dog manager from Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Fun fact, Elliot Page, who was then going by Ellen Page, attended the same high school as a young Drake, where they were even in the same class. Sadly, Aubrey treated Elliot like an asshole, mostly due to having a crush on them. But it's not all terrible news, as they often share friendly interactions on Twitter with other graduating classmates. Aubrey took on minor acting roles at a very young age, starting with an NHL commercial when he was just 10 years old. But at age 15, his friend's father, an acting agent, found Drake a few roles, one in Blue Murder, and then as Jimmy Brooks on the hit Canadian show, Degrassi, The Next Generation. Centered on real teenage issues, becoming beloved by most Canadians and those who had teen Nick. Although, he was hated by a certain Rick Murray, who shot him in the back, left him paralyzed, which changed the trajectory of his life.
You made me do this.
What once could have been a promising basketball career was cut short, with Jimmy switching to other means to express his emotions, finding success as a rapper, and becoming an underground sensation. Drake's story is not too far off, with him being a promising right winger in amateur hockey, but getting a cross check to his neck that ultimately sent him on his way to becoming a rapper. Due to his role as Jimmy Brooks, Drake was looked at as soft by his rap friends, wanting the character to be out of a wheelchair by season 6, but to the show writers, some Canadian kid in a wheelchair might have believed Jimmy Brooks was the coolest person ever to them. As both an actor and an upcoming rapper, Drake regularly arrived late on set after spending nights recording music, so he set up an agreement with the security guards of the set to allow him to sleep in their dressing rooms. He was being paid a hefty $50,000 per year for his main role as Jimmy, which helped pay the bills around the house and for studio sessions. In July of 2017, he revealed to the public that he was still receiving royalties from the show, but now amounting closer to about $9 per check. As for Jimmy, the role was subconsciously a little racist. I mean, one of the two black kids who's a basketball star got shot in the back and ended up paralyzed, now wanting to be a rapper? Just think about it a little, right? The Canadians at his school were not so nice, bullying him for both his racial and religious backgrounds. So, due to his shared time on set and at the studio, he simply couldn't make it to class, instead dropping out and receiving a high school diploma in October of 2012. In interviews, he's said to have hood stories. He apparently merged two hoods together? Okay. But he got the hell out of there and now brings those hardened veterans around with him as security guards. Drake also hung out with Yo Gotti and his manager in Memphis before his manager got locked up. It's in the interview. I don't know. They were playing with guns and shit. So, do you think that makes him cool? Does that make him more official all of a sudden? Obviously, no. This interview is taken from a Complex article in November of 2011. But a day earlier, Drake ran into problems with that same publication, particularly with the cover shoot, canceling it, wanting things done his way, or not at all. He was riled up with the young photographer, wanting it done by his own friends, believing they deserved that opportunity. Drake said to have changed from that incident, but in April of 2016, he'd be accused of threatening a Toronto photographer for taking candid shots of him. Drake's helicopter swooped over and landed right next to the end of the pier. When Drake removed his fur coat, charged a portion of the fence, and scaled it, confronting the amateur photographer. He was furious, repeatedly demanding the man delete the pictures out of respect. But with respect for himself, the man declined to do so. So Drake started taking photos of the man. Drake's security guard grabbed the man's camera when a passing bystander came to help out, with Drake threatening the two men and then leaving the scene. It contradicts Drake's nice guy persona. He's really a punk in the city of Toronto, bullying their citizens with his large security team, saying villainous statements, and the photographer only wished for an apology, which Drake had never given. Instead, the post was taken down by Instagram. Also, he's never actually acknowledged this event, and some speculate it's due to the two women photographed, eerily wearing the same exact outfit. Although he wanted to portray this sophisticated, hardened lover boy who's down with the streets, we know he's an actor. So, what about his rap career? His first recorded song, Do What You Do, on the End soundtrack was released through MTV because of his role in Degrassi, but that never got him any real recognition. Behind the scenes, he was preparing to debut his new mixtape, working with DJ Smalls and artists like Trey Songz, Lupe Fiasco, and believe it or not, Clips, which consisted of Pusha T and his brother No Malice. In February of 2006, he released Room for Improvement, only selling about 6,000 copies, which for a debut mixtape is pretty good, receiving about $304 in royalties from his first check, which his uncle had framed up on his wall years later. The lyrics to his early music needed some room for improvement. They were undercooked, bars were there, but he just wasn't. The features definitely carried themselves to the bank, and he got Pharrell to produce a song on it, so that probably explains why the royalties were so low. In June of 2018, a notebook containing handwritten notes and lyrics for the mixtape was eventually put up in an auction house. Several songs written on it that made the tape, but there were also ones that had not, and personal messages sprawled throughout. The biddings for the notebook started at around $8,000, but easily made its way up to $20,000, which wasn't the first time this had happened either. Months prior, two old journals of Drake's were auctioned off by Moments in Time, one for $32,000 and the other for about $54,000, also containing lyrics, letters to himself, and something called the 10 Mac Commandments. Right now, people around the world have been buying these pages for about $3,000 or more, which, in my opinion, is an insane return on investment.
Growing up, it's kind of like the process seemed fake, and I took it when kids called me the hostess cream cake. But yeah, this is a $2,000 piece of notebook paper.
But none of that was appreciated by Nicholas F., someone who contributed a lot to the mixtape, behind some of the songwriting and production, and having a top 3 verse on the project. Drake called Nick a mentor and an idol, someone he had the pleasure of working with, saying he was a top rapper. A portion of the notebook had music for his mixtape, Cut the Check, and he felt fouled out since Complex didn't do proper background research, something they have a habit of not doing. He's never really had an issue with Drake, they've just gone their separate ways. But from the start, Drake received help from major labels such as MTV, big producers like DJ Smalls and Pharrell, was getting artists featured like Lupe Fiasco and Clips, but was already being accused of ghostwriting. Nicholas was there for a huge part of his early career, inspiring Drake to really rap, and he contributed some ideas to Drake's verses, something they'd both admitted to years ago in 2010. Drake was paid a cool $100 for his first concert, opening up for Ice Cube at Toronto's Cool House, posting the invoice on his story years later, encouraging his fans to keep going on. But little known fact about this time, Drake teamed up with Melanie Fiona and another guy to form the band The Renaissance, with very little information about that. Before OVO, Drake was ATF, All Things Fresh, a group of his friends with the same goal as stardom, being supported by Canadians who sought to see their first real rap superstar. There were fan pages made of him even before his global rise, and Drake often interacted with them, thanking them for their support. These fans connected through early social media platforms like Twitter and Tumblr, and camped under his blog sites. But if you're wondering if he ever repped ATF, you can hear him say, "But I ain't banging, I ain't waving no flags, I'm ATF, but they ain't seeing no badge," on the song Ransom with Lil Wayne. October's very own was established shortly thereafter, with the help of longtime friends Noah 40 Shabib, who helped produce a good amount of Drake's catalog, inventing the underwater melodic style beats, and Oliver El Khatib, Drake's manager, who accomplished a ton in the fashion and creative industries, and was the first to reach out to the Weeknd, with OVOXO merging naturally after. Drake built his team from the ground up, choosing to hire friends and people with his vision, such as CJ Gibson, a longtime friend and road manager of Drake's, his tour DJ and co-manager Future the Prince, D10 the musical director, OVO Nico who helped him with advertising and merchandising, J Mac his barber, OVO Hush a secret ghostwriter, OVO Mark serving as his advisor, OVO Noel his engineer, and lastly, OVO Chubbs and Baka Not Nice, both starting on his security team, who have a problematic history of their own. Although 40 contributed a lot to Drake's music, another producer contributed equally, if not more, to Drake's production, and they met indirectly through that band Drake was in all those years ago, The Renaissance. Boy Wonder is a record-breaking producer and ghostwriter, having been an outstanding beatmaker from the jump, winning competitions but eventually meeting Drake, clicking immediately, and writing a whole song in under 20 minutes. Boy Wonder was mentored by T-, another producer in the OVO arsenal that has made incredible beats over the years, and with the 4 of these gifted musicians now working together, nothing felt impossible. Working to release his second mixtape, Comeback Season, in September of 2007, with a song produced by Jay Dilla, the coolest fact of the video, and one where he sampled the Barry Bonds beat, somehow ahead of the original release from Kanye. In 2008, Jazz Prince Jr., at the behest of his father, Jay Prince, was looking to make a name for himself in the label industry, scouring through MySpace until he came across a familiar unsigned Canadian artist that was trending at number 1 or 2, having already released a music video for Replacement Girl with the alleged sexual deviant, Trey Songz. Impressed by what he had heard, he slid in Drake's DMs like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Jazz Prince," which Drake was none too impressed with, but still, they kept in contact. When playing Drake's music for his father, J. Prince said, "What do you see in this?" Since his label Rap-A-Lot Records was more known for gangster tunes. Jazz Prince brought Drake to Lil Wayne's attention, with his initial reaction being, "Jazz, don't ever play this for me again. He sucks." However, Jazz was persistent, playing more of Drake's music for Master Wayne, until catching his attention with the A Milli remix, which wasn't released at this point. By the third song, Lil Wayne was really impressed, having a short conversation with Drake on the phone before flying him out to Houston. During their first meeting, Lil Wayne kept to himself, supposedly giving Drake the silent treatment, which made the Canadian feel a little bit insecure. He was invited to go touring with Lil Wayne, first to a show in Atlanta where the pair recorded the original Forever and Son Hard verses on the tour bus. What caught everyone off guard was Drake's already tremendous popularity, having 15,000 fans in San Francisco shouting "Jimmy" towards the stage. He was at one point sponsored by Canada Goose and Patron, an idea he took from Atlanta, moving it back to Canada, where he met with a Ghostbuster, Dan Aykroyd, someone he knew from his days of acting. Drake was thought to have believed Dan was the inventor of Patron for over 15 years, fucking idiot, but he was simply just an importer, making a fool of himself on Caleb Presley's Sunday Conversations.
Dan Aykroyd did not invent Patron. Yeah, he did. Who do you think invented it? T-Pain? No, Dan Aykroyd didn't invent Patron.
With the backing of Lil Wayne, the hype from the internet, his industry connections, and having mild celebrity status, Drake was on track to becoming rap's next big superstar. But it hadn't come without its difficulties. By this point, Drake was hemorrhaging through his money, spending $1,000 on champagne and leasing a Rolls-Royce Phantom for $5,000 a month to keep up with appearances. While touring with Lil Wayne, Drake was working on his next project, recording most of it with his engineer 40, with features coming from people at their hotel. During the making of it, they listened to a lot of 808s and Heartbreak, which 40 described as finding a pot of gold. Some of the artists featured didn't necessarily know they were, finding out when the mixtape was released. Funny enough, years later, 40 reflected on this, saying he was influenced by 808s, but that it was only for one song. But when we analyze deeper, we see that it was really two songs influenced by Kanye, Say What's Real and Lust for Life, which Kanye did not take kindly. He cussed the man out, saying he shouldn't even be in the studio together because he tried to steal his sound, which 40 felt was subconsciously correct. Drake and his friends were broke, recording however they could, staying up all night in trashed hotel rooms, sampling whoever they could, and shipping it out as fast as possible, feeling that this was the raw experience of making your best stuff. It's exactly 2:34 a.m. as I'm reading this out loud. I'm broke. I've stayed up countless nights to make this video, sampling articles from wherever, man. And I'm sorry I can't ship this out faster. I have a life and a job. But I want to take a break from this video to say thank you for 10,000 subscribers. I lied. I don't have a life and a job. I actually do have a job, but I don't have a life. Normally, I would never do this so early into the video, but none of you seem to say till the end. So thank you for watching up until now. I appreciate your support, all the comments, all the likes. They do add up and help the channel. So for whoever want that extra mile from me, thank you. I'm back. I'm sorry I jerked you with that fucking weird ass cutaway. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd like a blog era rappers video, because in the 2000s, social media wasn't really established yet, or not to where it is now. So artists or their fans would open up blogs to promote their music. Drake was no different, opening up the OVO blog in April of 2008, partnering alongside his co-founders to update their fans on what they were doing or what they thought was interesting. Early posts include his recreational use of lean, different fashion projects of Oliver's, their different schedules of grinding, showing off his friends and collaborators, posting pictures of his concerts, going to the premiere of 2 short films he made with his friends, and being jealous of the Jonas Brothers.
Hi!
want to come
You have
later
the
and
number?
see
You want
them?
to call them for us?
No, I know them.
What, you know them? Don't play. Don't play around.
But in November of 2008, he posted a song Lil Bit onto the blog, announcing his next mixtape, which he ran to Atlanta to finish up. He later posted the cover art, dropped some music with Lil Wayne, until finally releasing So Far Gone on February 13th of 2009. It was free under his blog and had contributions from many people including Kanye West and Diplo, with songs like Successful going platinum. Before we move on, of course I spent a whole day looking through the blog. Some of my best friends are white. What an interesting proposition coming from the same man who, hood certified some random Asian guy. What the fuck? He had a good time with Miss Twerk some. What a porn addict. Sipped a bunch of lean. Also, he apparently used Tumblr. So I guess that explains why he was a porn addict who sipped a bunch of lean. Also, he shouted out a bunch of people he would unknowingly beef with in the future, including the likes of Kendrick Lamar and Pusha T. He was terrible at the gym, explaining his surgical six pack, but he was having tons of fun, hanging out with the boys, drinking, partying, making music, and leading a fun lifestyle for a young adult. He'd give his fans constant updates until about 2015 when he switched over to using other platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. The OVO blog was quite popular, and you can see the insurmountable hype for him in the comments, those from around the world who could sense his early talent. With the hype surrounding his name, he was caught between one of the biggest label bidding wars of that time, looking at Atlantic and Interscope before eventually signing to Young Money, having rumored advances of up to $2 million and retaining publishing rights. Respect to Lil Wayne for not putting Drake in that same 360 he himself was caught in, and Drake would forever be grateful for this. But before his deal with Young Money, the middleman Jazz Prince Jr. wished to intervene, contacting Lil Wayne's manager Cortez Bryant to sign him as the only person on Aspire Music Group, with talks of them going 50-50 on Drake's profits. According to Drake, he was 100% independent, but years down the line, he fired his new managers to rehire his old friend, Oliver. So we know there were some discrepancies there. While it was signed on paper, Jazz Prince Jr. was signed by none other than Birdman, who took Drake under his wing, becoming signed to Lil Wayne and Jazz Prince, who was working with Stunna, who was under Universal. So he was...
You sign to one nigga, that sign to another nigga, that sign to three niggas, now that's bad luck.
Jazz Prince Jr. had felt as though he was owed something, having only been paid $2 million. Wow, what a crime. When he felt he was entitled to 33% of Drake's revenue, deserving money for, I don't know, using MySpace properly? What the fuck did he do? During the lawsuit, Drake had pulled in about $40 million for the label, so Jazz filed an $11 million claim against Young Money Cash Money, which was later settled for an undisclosed number, but the two have never seemed to have bad blood over it. In terms of career trajectory, Young Money was the perfect spot for Drake to be at, and his best co-signer, putting a status of legit to his name. Throughout the year of 2009, 3 names dominated the boards, particularly Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj, who were really trying to make a name for themselves. Obviously not Lil Wayne, okay? They had a young me saying,
Room is the G-spot. Call me Mr. Flintstone. I can make your bed rock.
In March of 2010, Lil Wayne was locked up after possessing loaded guns on his tour bus, leaving the rest of Young Money to do the grunt work. With the breadwinner gone, it was picked up by Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Tyga, who all went on to have numerous charting songs and became global superstars. All 3 of them also have some minor allegations to their name. Crazy, right? But Tyga's not the biggest fan of Drake, calling him fake and saying their friendship was forced. Tyga has also gone on to tour with Chris Brown and Trey Songz, 2 singers with serious behavioral issues. And remember, he dated Kylie Jenner when she was still a teenager, something Drake was envious of. But Drake's relationship with Nicki Minaj stayed steady over the years, only drifting slightly when she got into a relationship with Meek Mill. Before heading off to Rikers Island, Lil Wayne handed Drake $30,000, which became life-changing money for the young rapper and his family, helping them stay afloat for the next 6 months. Although they haven't released quite as much music in recent times, the two still communicate on friendly terms, with Drake praising him at the Grammys just recently.
And I'm here tonight on behalf of the Black Music Collective to present the Global Impact Award to Ed Sheeran. Lil Wayne. Oh, Black Music. Makes sense. Sorry, Lil Wayne. My brother.
There's a lot to Young Money that I want to save for a future upload, but most of Drake's albums were released by them, until he departed from the label in 2019 under good terms. So Far Gone was released under OVO, so Drake was reaping the benefits of the America's Most Wanted tour with Lil Wayne, and the massive success of a few viral hits, with Best I Ever Had having the potential to become his very first #1 hit, if it weren't for everyone bumping R. Kelly's favorite group, the Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling you might hate that joke, but I think that's the best I ever had. The song was written on a laptop in a hotel room, something 40 thought was inconsequential, but it became their biggest song up until that point. While Drake had talent, he was not traditional by any means, often being made fun of, like when he started reading lyrics off his Blackberry during a freestyle, something the host of the show, DJ Funk Flex, said was ghostwritten.
Yo, put one more beat on. I got one more beat for you. We gonna drop some bombs in here. This that shit, go ahead. We about to drop a bomb Drake. Oh, why you put that on, Flex? Oh, shit. Hold on, I'm gonna find something for that. You know what I'm saying? Don't put on no more beats. No more right now, nah. He going acapella. We gonna do Drake acapella in here. You gonna put me on the spot? Okay. All right, I got something for you. We gonna drop another bomb. Drake's in the building. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Best I Ever Had was also a small ensemble of the constant weird mess his life is, with the first being the music video that he claimed was his favorite to shoot. Directed by his then friend Kanye West, the concept for the video was simple. Drake is a coach at a high school, and the girls of his life are all on the high school basketball team? Okay, but try not to sexualize them like he does. He wanted women to feel special when they watch the visual and say, I wish that was me. That's the goal with this video, be sexy and keep it together, but still make women smile. What an interesting choice of visual, I must say. Maybe that's why he's such a fan of girls' high school basketball, and as their coach, he was most definitely creepy as fuck, only teaching the girls how to stretch, leaving the team to lose by 91-14. Bro, who the fuck is this inspiring? The moral of the story being, how can I be perverted without outright saying it? For what reason did Kanye agree to do this? I'm not really sure, but most fans believe he was sabotaging Drake from the beginning since it was review bombed, with rappers like Daylight entertaining these theories during his interrogations.
It was one of Drake's biggest record ever, and I think Kanye was like, I'ma ruin this nigga. Yo,
I'm gonna make a pointless video.
I'm gonna make one of the pointless videos of video history.
The song was struck with 2 copyright infringement lawsuits, something that'll become a common occurrence throughout this video. Playboy Records, yeah, they had a label, alleged the song sampled Fallen in Love, with the only similarity being the opening bass riff. The lawsuit was eventually dismissed by a judge, but Drake was still ordered to pay a settlement by July of 2011. A rapper named Kia Shine alleged that Drake had borrowed bits of his work on Do It For The Boy for Best I Ever Had, claiming he was owed 25% of the publishing rights, which he did manage to get, and explained Drake adamantly denied these claims years back on his OVO blog, saying they've never worked with each other, and that he only borrowed one line from a song which Kia produced a beat on.
They say, like, especially with that Drake situation that really kind of peeved me just a little bit, was when Drake came out and said that I was lying about it. And it was like, come on, like, don't do that, because you got everybody listening to you right now, and you come out and you put something like that in the atmosphere. But then when you come back and you watch my Live from the Grind video, and you see that, no, it's actually true. No disrespect to Drake, because they definitely paid.
Because you was on stage with like Baby and them.
Exactly. They cut me my bread and everything. You know what I mean? It's cool. I'm not. There's nothing against those dudes. I just didn't like how that was handled. But at the same time, I'm a businessman. I look past it. You should come out and disseminate a record. For what? Drake is a very talented artist. Keep doing your thing. Let's get together and do a record for real. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. But when you sample someone's music, then they're listed as a writer on your record. That's just what the business is. So I'm listed as a writer. Nakia Coleman is my government. Nakia Sean Coleman. And when you look it up, you'll see that it's there.
Somehow, it gets more complicated when DJ Absolute planned to file a lawsuit against Kia for using his beat on Do It For The Boy, which ultimately caused both lawsuits to just fizzle out or something. Nothing was really done about either case. While playing a pickup game of basketball, Drake unfortunately tore his ACL, but re-injured it a month later performing Best I Ever Had while at a concert in New Jersey. At some point, he fell down on stage with all of it being captured on film as everybody kind of laughed at him.
Let's explain to people what a torn ACL is and how many places in your knee did you tear?
Well, I tore my ACL, like my ACL, my MCL, and my LCL. So, like the ACL holds the knee together. So with no ACL, your knee can slip over the edge. Like it's very, very painful. If I were to tear it again, I'd never be able to walk.
Which is exactly why 1 week later at the 2009 BET Awards, he was sitting down awkwardly singing Every Girl while Lil Wayne's daughters and her friends danced around him, which he agrees was a bad move all around, sending his apologies. One last tidbit. Nicki Minaj's remix clears Drake's original, let's be honest, right? But Wiz Khalifa and Busta Rhymes held up their own when they made their own versions, okay? Those were cool too. So keep all that in mind for the rest of the video. The obsession with high school girls, the amount of lawsuits, the injuries, the ghostwriting, all of that seems to be reoccurring themes in his life. So Far Gone was Drake's most successful project to date, gaining him several industry connections like Ben Baller, Joe Budden, and most importantly, beginning his lifelong friendship with #the Kid from Akron, LeBron James, who appeared at Drake's release party in Toronto. That same year, he was seen at LeBron's 25th birthday party, as well as being courtside at the 2010 NBA All-Star Games. They've attended numerous parties together, watched Sierra Canyon basketball games together, you know, the high school that Drake should be banned from. LeBron was name dropped in several songs, and Drake spilled his heart out as a special guest on The Shop, where LeBron had a father-son talk with a man just 2 years younger than him.
Drake texts you and like, am I letting you down?
Yeah, what did I tell you?
What did you say to him?
You said that I can never let you down.
Look, man, did you text me after Awfully Hot Coffee Pot or not?
Yeah, I did.
And what did I tell you?
You said like I could never like let you down.
Well, I fucking lied to your bitch ass. Nothing without me.
In August of 2023, LeBron walked Drake to the stage, leading to a speech where he praised LeBron for believing in him and anything he had going on, which has led to the two forming companies together, buying portions of sports teams, and producing 2 separate documentaries, one which led them to face a lawsuit together due to accusations of stolen IP. But their most popular collaboration to date has to be from Forever, described by Jay-Z as the best posse cut of the decade, with features coming from Kanye West, Lil Wayne, and Eminem, each trying to outdo the other. But LeBron held center stage of the music video, as the song served to be the soundtrack for LeBron James' documentary, More Than a Game. In more recent times, LeBron was seen at Kendrick's pop-out, leading some to speculate that he's already picked sides. But in 2009, this little spark jump-started Drake's career. But all of these charting songs came before his first debut studio album, leading to his gradual transition of being known as Jimmy Brooks on Degrassi to a legitimate rapper. If So Far Gone was about raw emotion, about struggling in life, family issues, women troubles, his next album was to be slightly different, showing off the glamour of being a young superstar. He'd been hinting to his fans that his next project was gonna be big. You'd probably thank him later, releasing singles throughout the year of 2010, with Find Your Love slowly taking over radio stations. The beat was produced by Kanye West and No ID, which explains why it's so catchy. But there was something to the lyrics that hinted at rumors we were hearing about all throughout late 2009. Drake had worked a couple of jobs throughout his teenage years, one at a furniture shop, but as a fun nod, in 2005, he was actually hired as a songwriter for various artists under Dr. Dre, being paid $10,000, but no usable song came out of that, with Drake describing the experience as militant. Yet, the money from his various incomes really weren't piling up, having to work at a restaurant in Toronto, apparently the same one where Rihanna shot the music video for her debut single, Bon Replay, which is where the two had initially met. After Chris Brown's very public strikeout with Rihanna in February of 2009, Drake hit a lucky strike just a month later when the two were seen making out at a bowling alley. The song Fireworks was released with direct references to their relationship, sparking a decade-long conversation on whether the two were dating. They collaborated together on numerous record-breaking hits, getting matching tattoos together, which Rihanna eventually regretted. Rumors speculating that Drake supposedly cheated on her when they worked together for a brief time. Find Your Love was originally written for Rihanna, with Kanye West coming up with the melody for the song, but Drake needed to have it and released it instead. Rihanna did eventually find her love. Me. Just kidding, it's ASAP Rocky. The music video was shot in Jamaica, prompting the Minister of Tourism to warn people to be careful of how they portray Jamaica, not wanting it to be associated with gun culture and trafficking. Dancehall legend Movado claimed this was acting and nothing else, with Drake trying to rectify the situation by donating $30,000 to a school in Jamaica, hoping they can build computers with it. After insurmountable hype surrounding his name, Drake released his debut studio album Thank Me Later on June 15th of 2010, having close to 500,000 album sales within its first week, and becoming one of the most popular albums of that year. The album leaked almost 2 weeks before the release date, Drake having to tell his fans about it on Twitter, surprisingly not being all that mad. The album featured the talents of Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, Alicia Keys, Jeezy, T.I., and Bun B, with production done by Kanye West, Swiss Beats, Timbaland, and No ID, giving each song a unique sound that felt on par with the contemporaries of his era, making it a classic for that time. On the day of the release, he did a ton of interviews, signed a few albums at the Union Square Best Buy, then planned to hold a free concert for 10,000 people, when instead, 25,000 people showed up, leading to chaos in the streets. Chairs and bottles were thrown, mace was sprayed, and the concert was shortly canceled thereafter. To make up for it, he went to a nightclub album release party sponsored by Hot 97, later having dinner with his friends and family. During this era, Drake often teased big collaborations with other big artists like J. Cole and Kid Cudi. Cole and Drake shared a friendship beyond music. They'd shout each other out on interviews, went on tour together, and filmed themselves going to Best Buy to buy every copy of Born Sinner? Hey, that's not gonna help. All of that resulting in one throwaway feature, one controversial one, and one that lit a fuse into a rap war. Before releasing Thank Me Later, he was away from home, headlining his own tour, hoping his fans would bring an open mind. The first half being an eco-friendly college tour, where they sought to minimize the output of fossil fuels. All going to waste as soon as they entered this dumbass private plane. It was the same tour where he invited women on stage, some as young as 17, to start groping, kissing, touching, licking, and doing all sort of weird shit to them before stopping and always asking the same question: how old are you?
See, y'all gonna have me up here getting carried away. You can't. This is like, how old are you? Oh, wait, hold on, man. Bring the music down. Bring the music down. Bring the music down. Yeah, bring it down. Sorry. 24. Yes, that's what we like to hear. Good night. Bring it up. Bring the music up. That's that excitement. We like that. There's too many of y'all look like that, but y'all 17 and shit.
Getting wildly excited to hear that they aren't underage, which begs the question, was there a time when it was someone underage? Why didn't he stop after that first one? And why did he make it a bit? The answer is, yeah, a 17-year-old girl was invited on stage and he was doing all that weird shit with her. And as to why he kept doing all that after getting in trouble, simply put, he's a creepy guy. He nor his team have ever commented on these concerts, and they've stopped regularly inviting girls onto the stage, but not entirely, as there are videos from other tours where he did similar things. In November of 2017, when a man at one of his concerts was caught groping female fans, Drake called it out, saying, "If you don't stop touching girls, buddy, I will come out there and F you up, guy. Only I'm allowed to do that at my shows, not you, friend. I'll show you what a real predator is, guy."
Alright, Sarah, I just need you to stand right there. Right where you are is fine. I'm just gonna get ready for you. Just give me a second. Yo, stop that shit. If you don't stop, if you don't stop touching girls, I'm gonna come out there and you up. Bring the music down. Hold on, wait. If you got cameras on, if you could just hit like the pause function or just the stop button for just 2 seconds for me for this one part right here, because I forgot to do something. Going over? All right. Sarah, let me ask you a question, sweetheart. How old are you? 21. Bring the music back up. We going, baby. Turn the cameras on. Take all the pictures you want. I don't give a fuck. Stop putting your hands on girls and come on.
Thank you so much.
No, don't do it.
I'm not playing with you. If you don't stop putting your hands on girls, I'm gonna come out there and f*** you on myself. Hold on, wait, bring the music down. Shit. We forgot to do something.
How old are you?
Alright, he didn't quite say the latter half, but this was around the same time Harvey Weinstein was outed as a predator, spurring the Me Too movement, causing some to believe that this was all a PR stunt, since he's never had a moment like this kinda ever again. Even though he said he was getting in a lot of trouble, nothing quite happened, continuing with his tour that ended in November of 2010, but not before introducing the first ever OVO festival in August of that year, inviting legends like Bun B, Eminem, and Jay-Z, who collaborated with Drake on the songs Off That and Light Up, also giving the young rapper some praise.
If you got cameras on, if you could just hit like the pause function or just the stop button for just 2 seconds for me for this one part right here, because I forgot to do something. You going over? All right. Sarah, let me ask you a question, sweetheart. How old are you? 21. 21. Bring the music back up. We going, baby. Turn your cameras on. Take all the pictures you want. I don't give a fuck.
The OVO Festival has always been tremendously popular, a show where you never quite know who'll show up, like Stevie Wonder, Nicki Minaj, The Weeknd, Kanye West, etc., etc. The tickets to the festival often sold out in minutes, with fans complaining about the mortgage-like payments. But it wasn't really Drake's fault due to Ticketmaster's resale policy. Financially, the festivals have been reported to help Toronto's economy upwards of up to $20 million, which is why the Ontario minister allocated a $300,000 grant for the OVO festival, thinking it would boost tourism. The Canadian taxpayers were none too pleased, believing Drake had the money to already do that on his own, when other festivals were pleading for less than half the amount that he got. Tragically, after the 2015 OVO festival, fans attended the official OVO afterparty at the nightclub across the street, where sadly, a few shootings happened both inside the club and pouring out into the streets, resulting in the deaths of 2 people and 3 hospitalized. Drake offered his condolences to all the families, talking about the violence that's befallen his city, and sadly, the culprits of the shooting were never found, with the victims being remembered by their friends and family. After getting off tour, having dropped a successful album, becoming a blog era champion, breaking through the mainstream, and receiving tons of endorsement deals, Drake had set his intentions on releasing a more grounded album. But not just yet. He never forgot about his role as an actor, having to deny multiple roles in big picture productions for his music, but finally getting his first minor role in Charlie Bartlett. I mean, hey, Robert Downey Jr. was in it, right? Yeah, that's cool, right? He played himself in the Canadian movie Breakaway, starring Russell Peters. He was a Ron Burgundy fan in Anchorman 2. He was on a couple of episodes of Saturday Night Live. He was a playable character in NBA 2K11. Also, he was on an episode of Punk'd.
Yo, Drake just feedled up! And then we had to cut that out.
All the alarms. That's my first earthquake ever.
Yours? Mine too.
I'm here to meet the vice president. The Secret Service is inside.
What are you bullshitting? You're here to meet the vice president? Are you kidding me?
You think I'm bullshitting you, bro?
Dude, what is this? Why do you have this?
It's the Secret Service, man. What the fuck? Yo,
why do you have this?
What are you doing with this?
Move this car.
Tase your wife. Tase your wife.
Oh my god! Did you just tase your wife? Oh my god.
This isn't real. I don't know what you're doing.
It's not real.
Oh my god!
Post-production spree back with some more knowledge drops. Did you know that my life is a lie? According to Google, the movie Spree was executively produced by our man Aubrey Graham. I don't really know how I missed this. I'm gonna blame that on my researcher, so F that guy. But it was an average B-tier movie, not too shabby, and no, it had no influence over the name of this channel. That actually comes from Halo. But matter of fact, I actually despise the fact that we share a similar name. It shows up on the top of YouTube search options, which kind of sucks. So please help me put this blast in the past. And if you're wondering how Drake was a producer, he just was, okay? He understands social media really well. That alone apparently gives you producer credits. Also, can we just take a moment to just be like, oh, what the hell, right? Spree? Bro, I was confused. I was like, oh, deadass? Let me just include this in the video real quick. But like, I know none of you guys care. I know none of you guys care, right? But like, what, right? Like, Spree, bro? Okay, back to the video. Here's a sad fact about his dating life. On the set of Charlie Bartlett, Drake met Kat Dennings, who he developed a crush on, leading to rumors about the two of them potentially dating. They were out on a non-friend sushi date, where she was intimidated by the presence of his security. His biggest role as a movie star was as Ethan on 2012's Ice Age Continental Drift, which honestly kind of sucked. But it also means that Nicki Minaj had a more successful acting career than him. He knew he wasn't that guy, instead choosing to release singles for his upcoming album, Marvin's Room and Headlines, both of which have reached multi-platinum certifications. Also, a woman named Erica Lee sued Drake, but it was settled pretty quickly. A promotional billboard was placed in the city of Toronto, Drake knowing it'd be some straight violation, putting up the words, "Take care, November 15th," showing that stupid ass fing owl and the population of the city, causing a stir. Can you guess why? The city took offense with Drake's usage of the Toronto logo, citing it may cause some confusion with actual city signs. They poked fun at the silly little copyright infringement over on the OVO blog and made it a tradition to promote albums this way over the next few releases. The city came to realize Drake's importance, being responsible for about 5% or $440 million worth of Toronto's tourism. So when he pulled a similar stunt on City Hall for his album Scorpion, they just didn't seem to mind. Former Mayor Norm Kelly even cheered him on. In February of 2016, Drake was awarded the key to the city during the NBA All-Star Game for putting the city on and inspiring others, something he felt was an honor to receive. The key is also held by former South African President Nelson Mandela, the boy kisser Dalai Lama, and Quebec's own climate changer, Celine Dion. Around the time Thank Me Later released, another Toronto artist had begun making waves, posting his music onto YouTube and blogs, and choosing to remain an anonymous figure. Drake's manager, Oliver, found the Weeknd, played some of his music for Drake, and eventually they posted his music on the OVO blog, creating a friendship between the two. By March of 2011, he would regularly shout out the Weeknd, referring to themselves as OVOXO. They'd go out drinking, partying, touring, and were inseparable for about a year. Drake was seen at the Weeknd's very first live performance, and he even brought him out to the 2011 OVO Fest, one of the first times audiences ever saw the Weeknd in person. The Weeknd was hungry, tired of robbing people of their Jordans just to get these promiscuous women another nose fix, and he needed another way out. House of Balloons was great, the whole trilogy set even, but a good portion of it was willingly given up for Take Care, with both of them admitting so. The two featured on each other's albums, with The Weeknd showing up on Crew Love, and Drake spitting a verse for The Zone. With this incredible talent at his fingertips, Drake was looking to sign The Weeknd to OVO, something he declined, instead choosing to go to Republic Records. Drake felt he was owed a favor, and while their relationship has wavered over the years, it's safe to say The Weeknd made a sound decision. Because according to Drake, he would not have been as attracted to an overeager kid that was threatening to be in every interview. In other words, The Weeknd was threatening Drake's position as Toronto's leading artist. If Drake gets him signed, he would have had the power to change the narrative. Instead, The Weeknd selling out stadiums, performing at Super Bowls, making millions of dollars, and doing it all on his own terms. Although The Weeknd's influence on Take Care was noticeable, the top charting songs came from the title track featuring Rihanna, going on to be that year's club banger. It was a great song, okay? And The Motto featuring Lil Wayne and Tyga, my middle school anthem. The Motto became a certified internet classic, spawning the phrase YOLO, you only live once, which became a popular hashtag when posting yourself doing silly little things because, you only live once.
What would Drake do?
Probably not this.
Dude, bro, YOLO.
Fuck it. YOLO!
And I thought he was gonna make it.
So, Spree lore, in middle school, my friends and I all memorized the lyrics to The Motto, but our gym teacher hated Lil Wayne's part because of 7 grands in the blunt, almost drowned in a pussy, so I swam tub, but it's East Side, we in this bitch. Like, dude, are you kidding? Those are bars, bro. I don't know what he was on, right? He also had like a balding ponytail and mostly wore Lions merch. We also didn't really like him too much, but Spree lore. Feeling like he was at the top of the world, Drake shifted his focus onto the Club Paradise tour, wanting to bring out people who were currently at the top of their game. Drake stopped bringing young girls around to invite fellow rappers like Kendrick Lamar, A$AP Rocky, J. Cole, Waka Flocka Flame, and many others to their very first big tour, boosting their already growing popularity. At this point of the game, Drake is mostly cool with everybody he knows. He's out doing street interviews with Joe Budden, making songs with Kendrick Lamar, A$AP Rocky, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, and everybody else who grew to dislike him in the future. But the OG sensed something that we didn't. Drake accused Ludacris of stealing his flow, which Luda was doing first, getting an apology from Drake years later. Then Common started beefing with him over Serena Williams, and by 2012, he already had a history of beefing with other rappers such as Aristo and Voice, Toronto rappers who both tried sunning the boy, but ended up getting babied themselves. Early into his career, he was being called out by Lil B the Bass God, Beanie Siegel, Lil Kim, Pusha T, and DMX, all who had their own problems with him in one way or another. He didn't let that bother him, as he'd often either ignore it or sneak in a diss on a different track. But there was one that he just simply couldn't ignore, a sneak diss on a remix of his own song, and it was by none other than Chris Brown. After a tour stop in New York, Drake visited Sin City to show love for the game, next heading to Whip, a nightclub where things took shape. Of a triangle, that is. And wanting to rectify things, Chris Brown sent over a bottle of champagne to Drake, receiving a note back that wrote, "I'm effing the love of your life. Deal with it." Now, there's a couple of ways that we can look at this. They were in a love triangle after all, so by the transitive property, it would not be considered gay to have relations with this man. Since it is a triangle, we can assume maybe that's why Chris Brown sent over the bottle. And who knows if Drake is dyslexic or not? I don't know. I didn't do my research, right? Maybe he was trying to write, "I'm the effing love of your life. Deal with it." So we can call the next bit a lover's quarrel. What began as a screaming match from Drake's entourage turned into a whole bar fight. Bottles and chairs being thrown, busted up tables, broken mirrors, resulting in several clubbers getting injured or hospitalized. And among them was NBA player Tony Parker, who was hit in the eye by shattered glass. Chris Brown showed the aftermath of the night, resulting in a nasty boo-boo on his chin. The club owners hit the two rappers with a $16 million lawsuit, alleging their brawl caused upwards of up to $4 million in losses, and they were fighting their own case against Tony Parker, who was suing them for $20 million. Both lawsuits were eventually thrown out of court, with the judge concluding that the rappers had no duty to behave. It all resulted from that triangle, with Rihanna being the missing link to all this. After rekindling both her relationships with Chris Brown and Drake, just months apart, it was no doubt they'd eventually squabble. In the end, none of them ended up with My Beautiful Queen. Not even I. It was A$AP Rocky. But they did settle their differences. Drake always considered him to be a legend and publicly ended their feud years later. Together, they released a smash hit, No Guidance, which dominated the summer of 2019 but caused yet another lawsuit to take place. When in February of 2022, a rapper named Brandon Cooper alleged the two copied his flow on I Love Your Dress for the hook on No Guidance. But it wasn't anything substantial. Personally, I didn't find much of a resemblance, and Drake's lawyers motioned for the case to be dismissed, with Drake getting off the hook.
You got it, you got it. You got it, you got it. Baby, you got it, girl, you got it.
The whole lawsuit was later dropped by Cooper altogether, who realized he didn't really have a case. In most recent news, Chris Brown dismissed the call from House Graham, seen dancing to the song Not Like Us at the club, so it's safe to assume they're not on the best of terms right now. After the Club Paradise tour, Drake tasked himself with completing Aaliyah's posthumous project. Something nobody asked him to do. No one was supportive of this. Not her family, not Timbaland. His engineer 40 was weirded out. Not even his fans wanted him to release this. It was a bit unsettling. A person with no known connection to Aaliyah with the means of releasing her album posthumously. And the subtext of Drake as, an alleged predator and Aaliyah as an actual victim of CSA, it's kind of disturbing to say the least. On the 9th anniversary of her death, he wrote a love letter to her, customized an in-ear monitor with her picture on it, even got a tattoo of her on his back, and I'll say this right now, right? I love my mom. I love TLC, man. I'm not getting them tatted on me for my future wife to look at, right? Imagine you're dating a girl and she got some gigantic ass Biggie Smalls tattoo, right? Now you're looking at that every time you're hitting, bro. You can't nut on bigs, man. Right? So apply that same logic here. No wonder women aren't calling him back. They're traumatized by 40 and his grandma staring right back at them. Thankfully, the album was never completed, being scrapped by the duo themselves, but not before he got a few tracks over her dead body. Sorry about that. Including one that he released in August of 2012 called Enough Said, and another that was leaked years later, also featuring her vocals. By this point, Drake had gone from basements to condos. He had a penthouse in Miami, an extravagant one St. Thomas apartment, but after 2 tours, he amassed enough to put down for his own property, deciding to settle into a Hidden Hills home for a conservative $7.7 million in 2012. He added 2 neighboring properties for another $7 million, having the lot now span over 6.5 acres. Referred to as the YOLO Estate, it's fit with a home studio, customized with a 25-seat home theater, a basketball and tennis court, a mechanical bull, a water slide and waterfall, a swimming pool with statues of voluptuous women on their knees. Alright. A wet bar and whatever else you could possibly imagine. It's incredibly nice, alright? I'd find myself lost while trying to rob it. But that pales in comparison to his other property just a few zip codes down, a Beverly Crust mansion he bought for $70 million in the beginning of 2022, the largest property in that area. The property has 10 bedrooms for $70 million, 22 bathrooms, and 27 toilets. Who the fuck even needs that many? Matter of fact, who needs 4 homes that are only 40 minutes away from each other? Also, he's not even home half the time. He's either on tour, at the studio, or in other cities. You see how dumb his spending habit really is? After buying the home, he decided it was best to move out of LA. Drake put up all 3 homes of his YOLO estate up for sale, 2 being sold to Matthew Stafford of the LA Rams, and 1 to a private buyer, totaling about $23 million, and almost 65% return on investment. The same cannot be said about his Beverly Crest mansion, which sits abandoned on Zillow, listed for $88 million, which, if sold, can provide $4.8 million to the homeless population there, and 27 toilets for them to use. But unfortunately, it's yet to be sold, even when relisted during the whole Kendrick saga. Los Angeles was never Drake's real home, which is why in 2015, for $6.7 million, he purchased a 2-acre property in the Bridle Path area of Toronto, opting to demolish the already built mansion there and construct his own that would stand firm for 100 years, which, by the looks of it, isn't very likely. The mansion itself is absolutely insane. It's 50,000 square feet with a NBA regulated court inside, an indoor basement swimming pool that's very uneasy on the eyes, toilets that play Tupac's Hit 'Em Up every time you open it up. I mean, best I can give you are 12 frame Drake albums to look at while you poop. But if you want to see the mansion for yourself, go check out the cover art for Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, or check out the interactive house made for the site Drake Related, which serves mostly to promote his merchandise. The issues don't lie within the house. Instead, it's always been from the outside. When constructing the mansion, they came into a problem. Bystanders would often wait outside wanting to take pictures, which was freaking Drake out. But the city had to give special permission for the tall fences he needed, so we went with Plan B, planting very tall cedar trees for $1 million. Drake's only opposition was the lawyer who shared property lines with him, believing that the brick wall would be an eyesore and would cast an excessive shadow. The city did grant him permission to build those high fences, but it did little to keep the intruders out, or the water that recently flooded his mansion. Over the years, Drake had some serious break-ins, starting with that YOLO estate, where kids often stole the YOLO sign outside, which he found to be rather cool, not really blaming them. Odell Beckham Jr. recalls a time where fans were trying to break in at 7 in the morning, where he had to keep it cool before calling security and having them kicked out. In the early morning of April 3rd of 2017, a particularly thirsty woman broke into Drake's estate, locking herself into a room, wearing Drake's hoodie, and drinking a bottle of Fiji water, a Pepsi, and a Sprite, with no evidence that she did anything else. There were no signs of forced entry, No one knew how she got in, but she was arrested, charged with residential burglary, and was placed on a $100,000 bail, with Drake's team intervening, cutting her a break. This woman was Drake's stalker, showing up at his estate a few months later saying she was on the list. When that didn't work, she refused to leave and security called the police, where she became more aggravated, spitting on 3 deputies before being pepper sprayed and arrested for trespassing and assault. Surprisingly, in August of 2021, the stalker filed a $4 billion lawsuit against Drake, accusing him of defamation and invasion of privacy, doing so without any lawyer by her side. So the judge dismissed this in quick fashion, invoking the Questionable Lawsuits Act. Drake didn't know her name, what she looked like, or the fact that she broke into his house 4 years ago, saying all this was frivolous and that she was delusional. In court, Drake had provided documents of the harassment he received from her, mostly death threats to his baby mama and son, claiming she's only doing this to speak with him. For reasons unknown, the stalker filed a restraining order against Drake, which she didn't get, due to the 3 times she's been arrested on his property and the 5 to 6 times she was arrested for assaulting his fans. Drake filed for a counter restraining order, which he was granted, but only for 3 years. The whereabouts of his stalker remain unknown, with the last information we have of her being arrested for battery on a police officer. In July of 2017, a man climbed up the hidden hills, get it, around Drake's backyard to gain entry into his property, being noticed by a security guard who ordered him to leave. The man became aggressive, having the cops be called on him, and being arrested shortly thereafter, being charged for trespassing. In March of 2021, a woman headed to the embassy armed with a knife and a metal pipe, shortly being stopped by security at the front gate. She allegedly struck one of them with the pipe before being subdued, arrested, and charged with assault and trespassing. Drake was home at the time, but luckily she wasn't able to take one step inside the compound, and there were no injuries. In July of 2022, a 23-year-old man broke into Drake's Beverly Crest mansion, being shortly spotted at the pool house. When questioned, the man claimed Drake was his father and that he was simply waiting for him to come home, implying that Drake was a father at the age of 12. The man was arrested for misdemeanor trespassing, not getting very close to the main house, but even if he did, Drake wasn't home. Matter of fact, he wasn't even in the country. During that time, he was out in Sweden promoting his latest album when, after partying, he'd returned to his hotel to find a knock at the door. There's a few recounts of what happened. Some say he was detained, but his team denied any rumors that he was arrested. For one night straight, all of Twitter was using the hashtag #FreeDrake, with DJ Academics leading the forefront. But Drake posted a series of documents showing that he was just suspected of a crime. What crimes? Well, blogs speculated that Drake was under suspicion for kale salad related charges, but he never faced any serious consequences like ASAP Rocky did. However, he's not gone back since. There have been numerous break-ins to Drake's homes, but they've mostly been unsuccessful, as per the January 2023 case when a man successfully broke into his home, stole a few things, but was caught by the LAPD down the street. Most recently, his problems have only escalated further, all due to the Great Rap War. During the Battle of the Bastards, Drake's embassy was reported to have been broken into at least 3 different times. Twice by the same person who just wanted to get his bike back. And then the embassy was shot at, with his security guard getting seriously injured and hospitalized. Imagine having a $100 million mansion that you simply cannot enjoy. You can never be home alone. Security would always need to be on the property 24/7. There's people banging on the walls outside. There's a chance that it could flood. And on top of that, he'll never be able to sell this property, since it's fitted to his exact needs. A similar situation to Michael Jordan's mansion. So, interestingly enough, I wrote that joke in about a month ago. Guess what happened? He sold his house, like, after 12 years. Bro, dead ass. How, bro? I just made the joke. I couldn't even make the joke. I couldn't even do it. I didn't even have the opportunity to do it. He ruined it. Now imagine having the world's worst security team. We'll take Drake's for example. Besides them constantly beating people up for no reason, they've never thought about online security. That's why this video is sponsored by... Nah, I'm kidding, we don't get sponsors. But his dad reported receiving odd and disturbing phone calls, opening up a police investigation with nothing really being done about it, and Drake's personally been robbed a few number of times. In May of 2009, while heading to his parked SUV after leaving a restaurant, two armed men pulled up on Drake and the woman he was with, drawing their handguns to his face, demanding that he give up the chain Lil Wayne gifted him, an AP watch, and about $2,000. They hopped into their getaway car after a man intervened, but they drove the wrong way onto a one-way street, leading to the arrest of both men, one of them named, I kid you not, Socrates. The two men were arrested, charged with armed robbery and possession of stolen property, but through twisted street logic, he was called a snitch by Toronto rapper Sizzlack due to cooperating with the police. Instead of holding his ground and having these criminals booked bettering society, Drake opted to drop all these serious charges against the gunmen, saying he was set up by the woman he was with. From that day forward, he never touched a road without a plug. He never saw the point in talking tough. And it hasn't happened since. Just kidding. In September of 2016, during the Summer 16 tour, his bus was robbed, losing about $3 million worth of jewelry. The thief was shortly apprehended when he tried assaulting a woman after breaking into her ASU dorm, causing security concerns at the university. The jewelry was shortly recovered, but it didn't belong to Drake. Instead, reports say it was either Future's, who was co-headlining the tour, or Drake's DJ, Future the Prince.
Drake, what do you have to say to the guys that robbed me, man?
Nobody robbed me.
Huh?
Nobody robbed me.
Well, they got that man arrested, you know what I mean? Say what? They have that man arrested.
Thank you very much. That's enough. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
In either case, the thief faced 1 year of jail time plus 5 years probation, and is currently a nursing student who at one point thought it was okay to enter random rooms for sexual encounters. In August of 2018, while on the Aubrey and the Three Amigos tour, they stopped by a hotel in Kansas City where their tour bus was shortly towed away, but not for violating any city guidelines. The media speculated it was due to the tour bus being repossessed, with it being quite an embarrassing moment for the owner of the bus company and Drake having to postpone some dates. When the sanctity of your own home is constantly being invaded, when your tour bus can go missing at any point, you start developing this fear of the streets. And for Drake, he saw one escape: the skies. In 2019, Drake was given a $185 million private plane through CargoJet, seating 30 people with a custom paint job from Virgil Abloh. You'd expect some form of privacy 30,000 feet up in the air, right? No. In July of 2022, an automated Twitter account was designed to track his flights along with other celebrities, finding that Drake often takes short flights, some under 30 minutes. One was apparently 7. The private jet industry often emits more greenhouse gases than some countries. That's hundreds of people, ruining it for billions. But don't you bring that up to Drake, he will tell you that it's them moving planes to another airport to be parked. A very plausible statement for someone who doesn't care about their environmental impact. An empty jet flying is much worse for the environment than flying a book jet. What brought Drake to the conclusion that this would be an appropriate response? I'm not really sure. He's never been the brightest when it comes to climate change. He has so many cars that they collect dust. What a flex to those with bad credit card debt. Now finally, back to 2013, after moving into his Hidden Hills home, he was a neighbor of Kanye West, and they were set to drop a mixtape together that never really materialized. But it would be Kanye's Fish Fillet that inspired Drake's new sound for his upcoming album, Nothing Was the Same, releasing Started From the Bottom as his first single, which, as a fun tidbit, came from a studio session with Future, who tell his producer to start it from the bottom. The album itself was some of his best work, with his previous entries being considered breakthrough grounds for R&B rappers, many saying he changed the rap game by introducing singing. But Nothing Was the Same mixed the best of both worlds, dishing out bars on Tuscan leather while making the pop star-esque song Hold On We're Going Home with Majid Jordan, that has been widely regarded as one of the best songs of the decade, resulting in a solid background wedding song. It didn't come without its difficulties, as J. Cole was originally featured on the album, but was cut due to his ableism. Cole realized he was wrong, writing a letter issuing a necessary apology for being ignorant, which is something he'd come to do regularly in his career. Over on his OVO blog, Drake offered his apologies, saying this was a learning experience for them both, and cut the controversial line from the official 2019 release of the song. On the song From Time, he name dropped one of his old girlfriends. So the internet did what the internet does. They tracked her down, doxed her full information, and made fake flyers promoting her. She confirmed the rumors to be true, and Drake realized it was a wake-up call, only bringing up women's names if things went public. In more lighthearted news, a trend developed through mid-2022 that involved users baking cakes that resembled the cover art for Nothing Was the Same, quickly growing viral and spreading to other platforms, with various people showing off their creative designs. By August of 2013, Drake had his ears out looking to hear the next wave, deciding to sign Toronto's upcomers, Party Next Door and Majid Jordan to OVO, looking to become the next big label. During this time, Drake promoted Party Next Door as much as he did The Weeknd, brought him out to shows, and was featured on his first Billboard charting song, Recognize. Yet, P&D has stayed relatively under the radar, even though he's responsible for some of your favorite hits. Drake, his in-house producers, and engineers all helped solidify the OVO sound, which became known for its moody, upbeat rhythm. It was followed up by signing I Love McConan, Please Stop Threatening My Life, Roy Woods, Division, Baka Not Nice, Popcan, Smiley, and Naomi Sharon, who've all had a hard time distinguishing themselves over Drake. Compare it to the likes of TDE, Maybach Music, or even Young Money. These labels were able to distinguish their rappers as individuals who can work as a collective, while OVO artists are best known for having Drake on a feature. We know he isn't overeager to have a kid outshine him, which is probably why his label never moved that far up in the industry. One artist that's almost never talked about is Naomi Sharon, the first female artist signed to OVO, who was seen with him during the studio sessions of CLB. According to her ex, Jamie's son, who used to work out with him, Drake flew Naomi out for 3 weeks, and they allegedly slept together, breaking up the engagement of 8 years. Naomi admitted her love life was going through some emotional turbulence, later posting a cryptic Instagram story singing lyrics of wishing her ex well. But all this was a lie. It was a ruse done by the ex-fiancé Jamie, you scumbag. It was his own friends who leaked the private messages proving that the pair had never slept together, but the rumors of them sleeping together have become a blemish on her career, even though the allegations are untrue. After releasing Nothing Was the Same, he would ask the rhetorical question, would you like a tour? Inviting other acts like Miguel, Future, The Weeknd, and Party Next Door. With these tours, he got extra personal, talking to the live crowds, asking about their sex lives, and encouraging them to have sex later. The tour didn't come without its problems, as a co-headliner Future was not the biggest fan of Drake during this time. In November of 2011, Drake skipped the music video for Tony Montana, with Future calling that a slap to his face, since he originally wanted another Atlanta rapper on it instead. But then he felt slimed for not receiving publishing rights on Started From the Bottom, only receiving one bottle of expensive champagne. Future was misquoted as saying, Drake made an album that is full of hits, but it doesn't grab you. They're not possessive. They don't make you feel the way I do. I want to make you want to fall in love. Due to this Billboard article, Drake intended to remove Future off his tour, where he'd be losing over $1.5 million in wages. So Future intended to sue him to recoup. Realizing they'd gain nothing from this, Future set his sights on the Billboard publication, asking them to take down the misquote, saying it was off the record, and showing love for Drake. Future was invited back on the tour shortly after, with the two of them going on to be an elite duo over the years, releasing the joint album What a Time to Be Alive, and the two Billboard #1 hits, Way Too Sexy and Wait For You. But most recently, they haven't been on good terms. After the whole Civil War, it's a safe bet to assume they'll probably never make music together again. So, to reminisce on good times, I'd like to say my top 3 songs by them are Diamonds Dancing, Change Locations, and the original Desires, when it was leaked online as I Know and had an insanely better future verse. 2014 was an underrated year for Drake, going on a legendary feature run that included DNF, Only, Truffle Butter, Believe Me, the We Made It freestyle, Never Satisfied, Who Do You Love, and Tuesday, with Billboard calling it the Drake over, turning him into a cultural phenomenon. Drake started appearing in more commercials, hosted SNL for the first time, and saw himself turning into a meme. Unlike most rappers, Drake has always embraced his audience making fun of him, even liking those posts on Instagram, which further fueled his fans to make more. It's gonna sound very unserious, but the meme business brings in tons of money. Just think about Lil Pump's career, right? And something I give credit to is Drake being somewhat self-aware of this. Drake's not a traditionally ugly guy. Rather, he just looks very awkward and sassy when doing photo shoots or when he's posing in front of a camera, which has led to images like these being memed on effortlessly. If not once or twice a year, a viral picture of Drake spreads where he's doing something, while either always looking goofy or being sort of relatable, often leading to all these reaction pics and gifs we see of him. In November of 2014, DeMar DeRozan hinted there may be a new Drake mixtape on the way. And in February 2015, if you're reading this, it's too late, hit the iTunes market, with generally positive reviews. Contractually, it should have been Drake's 4th studio album, but instead he wanted to release it as a free mixtape, causing some tension within Cash Money Records that got resolved fairly quickly. Over the years, Drake was regularly called soft, made music for women and men who cry, and never fit into the guidelines of who people viewed as a rapper. But there was one call out that really started grinding his gears. To the casual audience, we were all led to believe that Drake wrote all his lyrics. But if you were a keen observer early on, you would have seen this coming a mile away. In January of 2010, Drake went on Complex to talk about his friendship with Nicholas F., telling them they bounce ideas off each other, but not consistently. In February of 2010, his old collaborator Nicholas F. corroborated that he's a team player. He's helped Drake write verses and hooks, but again, not regularly. I also loved how the interviewer was pushing to get the ghostwriting accusations out. Like, he's really trying his hardest. But at the same time, Kia Shine accused Drake of borrowing lines for Best I Ever Had, so that probably explains why. Drake also hired a poet named Kenza Samir to add another creative mind, saying in an interview that she was directly responsible for some lines on Connect. She was credited in a ton of his future work, even helping co-write his poetry book, Titles Ruin Everything. And Drake would say, "This tape would not be possible without her." He's had help from other songwriters like Party Next Door, OVO Hush, and The Weeknd, who've all contributed to a number of songs. But that doesn't mean Drake is talentless. He often writes music for other people, including Kanye West, Beyonce, and 21 Savage. Although, when Drake wrote 0 to 100 for P. Diddy, he realized the massive hit he had in his own hands, becoming impatient and opting to release it himself when Diddy ghosted Boy Wonder, probably out to do some, heinous things. Upon finding out his song was released, the Diddler stormed into a live nightclub in Miami Beach to confront Drake about the song, but Drake brushed it off. Feeling disrespected, P. Diddy punched him right in the shoulder, which aggravated a previous shoulder injury, sending him right to the hospital. It's speculated that this also had something to do with the NBA All-Star Weekend performance, where Drake snatched P. Diddy's mic and put his own on the floor for some reason. Surprisingly, it was Jay Prince who got them on good terms again, threatening the Diddler himself. In June of 2015, an event happened that changed the way we perceive Drake forever, and it all came from a collaboration with Meek Mill on the song Rico. While the song was great, it wasn't because of Drake. Meek Mill was tired of being compared to him, going on to Twitter to say, he don't write his own raps. Meek claimed Drake didn't write that verse on his album, that the whole game knew, and they were too scared to tell the truth. It was further fueled by an old OG Mako tweet pointing out Quentin Miller to be the ghostwriter. Mostly going unnoticed, until the accusations went viral. Meek posted a few screenshots of the credits to Drake's mixtape, showing Quentin Miller clearly there, with OG Mako confirming it before he was called out by Boy Wonder, going on their own feud. To corroborate Meek's claims, DJ Funkmaster Flex released Quentin Miller's reference tracks for 10 bands, officially confirming all the rumors that Drake had a ghostwriter. From there, other reference tracks and photos would start to resurface of Quentin over at OVO, sometimes standing right next to Drake. After finding out he was a songwriter for the Rico verse, the whole controversy happened. And here's where the glass cracked. Drake never hid the fact that he had songwriters. He did credit them when necessary. But the facade of the GOAT rapper, well, that was gone. It was never Quentin's fault. He was one of the only people coming to Drake's defense, saying he was not and never will be a ghostwriter for Drake. Instead, he contextualized it as a collaboration, choosing to display the musical abilities of Drake himself. Nicholas F. and 40 also came to the defense of Drake, with 40 saying he spent about 30 minutes with Quentin and that he did contribute to the project, but also defending Drake's ghostwriting, claiming he's a musician, saying he's not stigmatized by the rules of rap. All these ghostwriting accusations sort of derailed Quentin's career, with him now having to act like he doesn't exist. Ironically, becoming an actual ghostwriter. Meek putting his name out there didn't do him any favors, with record labels choosing to sever ties with him, and no one really giving him a chance. When people saw his name on projects, they assumed he was ghostwriting, having to clear that up when he worked on Nas's King's Disease 2 and for Kanye's Vultures 1. A year after the ghostwriting accusations came out, Quentin was confronted by Meek Mill and his entourage outside the Nike store in Beverly Hills, where Meek realized he wasn't a street dude and turned around. That's when Nicki Minaj told Meek to run that, so Meek and the Dream Chasers proceeded to violently beat up Quentin. But at the forefront of the blame was OG Mako, a rapper who had no reason to get involved. He was the one that exposed Quentin's name in the first place. OG Mako saw it differently, thinking he was doing his friend a favor, wanting him to get the credit he deserves. But on July 27th of 2015, Drake charged up, responding to Meek Mill, telling him he has more money, more deals, more connections, and that Meek was simply looking for a bigger payday. However, it didn't address the ghostwriting concerns, calling it rumors, so Meek tweeted, "Baby lotion soft," before addressing it on his Girls Tour, saying if you want to be the greatest rapper, you gotta be the one to write it in. Unsatisfied with the reception he received, it was time for some scary hours, being pressured on by Serena Williams of all people. Drake stayed up all night to release Back to Back, turning this on Meek's head immediately with quotable lyrics like, "Is that a world tour or your girl's tour? I know that you gotta be a thug for her. This ain't what she meant when she told you to open up more." Yeah, trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers, which was true. Meek was on Twitter that whole time. Just 2 days later, Meek responded with Wanna Know, which honestly should have been a home run, but Meek made some crucial mistakes. Wanna Know was the better diss track, addressing more of the situation, even including some of Quentin's reference tracks. However, none of his points really stuck. He didn't have the ability to psychologically break Drake down through his lyrics. And he did have P. Diddy as a feature, which aged this like milk. Another crucial mistake he made was using The Undertaker's theme song, which is a direct intellectual property of the WWE, resulting in Meek Mill being sent a cease and desist letter. The diss was taken down and the WWE never pursued further. Meek was even asked to show up for WrestleMania as a special guest, resulting in one of my favorite Meek Mill videos.
Wait, get up! Get up! You got this! Get up! Get out the way!
Get a knock Rock out. Get up, Rock. Get up! Situate him. Hey, Rock, kill him, Rock. Kill him!
Plus, he was too late. Back-to-back had lines people were captioning on Instagram, were using in commercials, on YouTube videos. It was a more viral song, making Drake the winner of the battle. The war simmered down, but was now played through subliminals and social media. And at the OVO Fest in 2015, Drake performed both his disses, teasing a third one named 3P. while a meme slideshow of Meek was shown in the background. Months later, each of them dropped songs minutes apart from each other with direct references to their beef, fueled further by Meek's continuation of the ghostwriting claims. By the way, Spree lore, the original idea for my very first video was Meek Mill, A History Through Memes, where I do a documentary about Meek Mill through like all the memes of him over the years, but I didn't know if anybody was interested in that. So let me know down in the comments below if you'd like to see that. And while you're there, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel. And thank you for watching thus far. Now back to the video. In September of 2018, the two publicly squashed their beef. Drake invited Meek on stage to perform Dreams and Nightmares on 2 tour stops, one of them being in Philadelphia, Meek's hometown. We'd come to find out his opioid abuse caused him to act out, but he bossed back up, becoming champions with Drake by releasing the platinum record Going Bad, being on relatively good terms since then. So we're all good, right? No, they royally screwed over an extremely talented songwriter and then became best friends after. So what was that even for? Quinton's career was almost ruined by this feud. He never even got a publishing check from Drake, but that was a whole nother ordeal with publisher Tricky Stewart. His talents alone kept him afloat. He was able to work with artists like Nas, Kanye West, Ty Dolla $ign, Travis Scott, Party Next Door, Big Sean, and a few others. And if you want some of my recommendations, I like the song Spectacular and Gambles. He's also like really talented, so check him out. But we're left with the question, was Drake using a ghostwriter? Well, yes. While on Funkmaster Flex's show, Drake defended his use of using reference tracks, saying he needed them to spark an idea that he could just run with. Kendrick Lamar called it out on King Kunta, Pusha T brought up the ghostwriting accusations again, and more reference tracks started leaking. In December of 2019, on an interview with Elliott Wilson, he kinda almost confirmed it, saying his strongest talent was writing, but that it's not wrong to let another person cook sometimes. He's not embarrassed by it, saying he pulled his own weight and that music is a collaborative process. Look, I'm not a rapper, you're not a rapper, no one really cares if he has ghostwriters. He was still commercially popular. Meek Mill kind of blew it all out of proportion. The public cared way too much about something the industry all kind of did, but it exposed Drake in one critical conversation. To say who's the best rapper of all time is very subjective depending on who you ask and what their criteria is. To me, it's Shawnee Bin Laden. To you, it could be Kendrick Lamar, Black Thought, Lauryn Hill, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Nav, Andre 3000, MF Doom, Nas, Nicki Minaj. Fuck it, Eminem. It's your opinion, make it your own. But there always have been two rappers that have influenced the generations after, and they go by Biggie and Pac. I'll say my thoughts for a different video, but it's undeniable that these two wrote their own lyrics, that they shared their own stories, and to the ones who were inspired by them, it became a rule. It's your penmanship that'll take you to that stage, not someone else's. Drake's peers egged him on, people like Nicki Minaj who tweeted and talked about his ghostwriting on tours, or Kid Cudi who was sending out subliminal tweets about ghostwriting, confirming it to be about Drake and Kanye West, who were actually on good terms at that time. Kanye responded in Kanye fashion, but Drake took it a step further when on tour he said,
"Boy, you getting way too high, you need a cutty." Real talk. Where's all my ladies at tonight? Talk to.
He then released Two Birds, One Stone, taking very cheap shots by riffing on Kid Cudi's mental health struggles and opioid abuse, which everyone dislikes since Kid Cudi was checked into rehab months before any of this happened. The song was also produced by Kanye West, who sent over the drums to 40, not having much to do with the lyrics. Kid Cudi took to Twitter telling Drake, "Why, yada, you think this is a game, pal? Say it to my face. I promise I'll be out soon. Say it to my face." But Drake never did, with their friendship souring for half a decade until the release of CLB, where we saw Kid Cudi as a feature on the song I Miss You Too, which was a culmination of a decade in the making, a collaboration that was set to take place all the way back during the Thank Me Later days. Fans rejoiced and Kid Cudi was happy that the beef finally ended, telling his fans he got love for the boy and they're all good. Every song you hear from Kid Cudi, he wrote. He's proud to have written all the lyrics to his songs, even if they flopped. But the same cannot be said about Drake. But don't you tell him that. Toronto rapper Mo G was infuriated with getting pennies to the dollar for his ghostwriting, calling it out on Instagram in a now deleted video. For you keen listeners out there, Mo G is the one with the dance moves. Drake adopted Mo G's Ginobili dance, and you can see him doing it on the Energy music video. Sadly, Drake and his OVO goons allegedly beat Mo G up after the call out, with him posting a picture on Instagram that's too graphic to show for YouTube. But that was only a rumor and a speculation, so it was never confirmed. As he is part of Toronto's Halal gang, and despite the name, they're not very halal, but they do have crazy talent, such as the rappers Mustafa and Safe. Despite back to back winning him the battle, Drake lost that war to Meek all those years ago. It was his first real loss, exposing that he uses ghostwriters, leading to an overall loss of respect in terms of his music, one that would come to haunt him for years to come. It was going bad, just like his health issues. You remember wheelchair Jimmy Brooks? Well, he might be making a comeback. Around June of 2009, Drake had torn his ACL while playing basketball, and then re injured it a month later while on Lil Wayne's tour, being clowned for it online and by Lil Wayne. Then during the BET Awards, he was just sitting down while all the girls danced around him, which the internet thought was pretty weird, considering the Best I Ever Had music video just dropped. Fans were pretty upset, but he updated them both on his Twitter and the OVO blog addressing his torn ACL, MCL, and LCL, saying he's getting surgery done on his leg and he needs time to recover. But the issues only progressed from there. In October of 2016, while on the Summer 16 tour, he suffered an ankle injury, which he first tried to power through, only making it worse. This resulted in him postponing the concerts, but ultimately deciding to cancel the last 3 remaining dates, focusing instead on healing his ankle. He updated his fans both on his blog and on Instagram, but conspiracy theories started to arise when he performed in Chicago that night, when all of a sudden he was walking fine. However, things only started getting worse when in late October of 2020, Drake had blown out his knee, posting a picture of his leg brace and telling his audience he's writing the best bounce back story. By December, he was taking positive steps towards healing, and by January, he was back to the gym lifting weights.
To love to understand why to better search
On the song Seeing Green with Nicki Minaj, we finally learned he tore his meniscus when playing basketball, the second time he's injured himself badly while playing the sport. Some would call that a sign. Drake called it an opportunity for his ankle to flare back up again, when in January of 2023, he postponed his Apollo Theater concert, later revealing he was receiving medical treatment for his piece of shit ankle. And now what's truly incredible about this tale is that during the Apollo Theater concert, a man fell down from the second floor balcony into the orchestra pit, with Drake being forced to pause the show so the man can receive some medical attention, learning from his mistakes at Astroworld. Sadly, his injuries persisted when he was seen walking in crutches during December of that year, apparently rolling his ankle during another basketball game in the Turks. Although he does receive the best medical attention, it isn't enough for his ankles. They're beyond cooked, which is why in February of this year, he postponed and canceled some of his shows on the IYRTITL Blur tour. Drake shaped himself to be a good performer. You may even call that his superpower. But with all these injuries, it seems like he's getting neutralized. The famous actor we once knew might be making a comeback, but maybe with some cosmetic upgrades. Now, these are just rumors and accusations, but in recent times, his peers have been calling him out for 2 alleged surgeries, one done on his nose, and the other for his pasted-on six-pack. But since those are just speculations, we're just going to move on to the facts. And the fact of the matter is, Drake has been having health issues for quite some time, getting real with his audience in October of 2023, telling them he wants to take a break and focus on his health. His stomach problems were to blame, something very relatable, but he never got that opportunity to be healthy, contractually obligated to finish his tour, and then he saw himself caught in a war immediately after, where he was tragically killed by the rightful Kendrick of House Duckworth, the first of his name, king of the West Coast and battle rap, lord of Compton, and protector of the hip-hop culture. The ghostwriting saga chipped away at his career, but ultimately it was just a stain, one that got washed away pretty soon when he dropped What a Time to Be Alive with Future, reviving his name in the process. He was set on making 2016 his year, announcing his promotional single Summer 16 for the album originally titled Views from the Six. Drake had been hyping Views up for well over a year, releasing Hotline Bling, which found global commercial success from its music video, but also Drake's choreography, being parodied by multiple outlets throughout the year in a phenomenon known as Drake posting. What originated on 4chan as Drake shitposting became the marketing tool many use now. And I'm sure you've seen this meme, or the hundreds of others. They serve as organic forms of promotion. But the trolls weren't done just yet. In November of 2015, Drake faced one of his most deadly battles yet, Operation Drake, which went unnoticed by the general population. An anonymous 4chan user urged others to post comments about Drake's death in a car crash, resulting in a mass hysteria under his comments section, spreading to other sites like Twitter and Reddit, and even to his Wikipedia. While most outlets vetted their research, BuzzFeed, even at the height of their popularity, did not, and reported his death, further spreading the misinformation, resulting in the post now being deleted. Hotline Bling served as a remix to Dram's Cha Cha, who wasn't credited on the final version and felt his record had been jacked. During a performance in Toronto, his record was being compared to Drake's, and he felt bittersweet about the whole ordeal. It was a very sly move by Drake to resample the same sample Dram was using in order to not give him credit, legally doing nothing wrong, but morally kinda messed up. It was during a time when Drake was notoriously remixing records and calling them his own, and also when the ghostwriting accusations fully erupted. When asked about the similarities, he wanted to capture the essence of the rhythm, something he learned from his journeys into Jamaica and not the last thing he picked up. On some further news, it was recently discovered through the 100 Gigs drop that the name of Hotline Bling comes from a woman Drake was sleeping with who had her phone blowing up while in bed, and that it was originally going to be a Shy Glizzy song featuring Future and Drake. In June of 2016, Hailey Bieber was caught on a date with Drake while separated from her now husband, Justin Bieber. For months, they had sort of a fling, which had a minor issue in itself, leading to Justin Bieber trying to capture the rhythm of Hotline Bling, remixing it himself and only releasing it on this number. According to the songwriter Pooh Bear, it was meant for Drake. If the lyrics weren't obvious enough themselves, there's no other way to explain it. Drake has always been one to enjoy some sloppy seconds. And while that's most of us to someone else, he particularly enjoys it when he hooks up with his friend's exes. Some real scumbag stuff. But you can check all that out over here. In lead up to the album, Drake rekindled his friendship with Kanye West, releasing the original Pop Style. And the history between the two quite honestly fascinates me, and I think it deserves its own 2-hour special. So I don't want to ruin all that yet, but it did feature 2 lines from Jay-Z, who was oddly feuding with the boy at that time. The two had collaborated on multiple tracks before, but something felt different this time, and it calls back to 2011's I'm On One, where Drake took aim at the throne, feeling as though he could ever take it. He denied the rumors on Twitter, and they were seemingly all good. The two even paired up on Pound Cake after that, plus Drake wrote for Beyonce on the song Mine. Slight tidbit about Pound Cake, Drake sampled Jimmy Smith, a jazz musician who was no fan of hip-hop, doing so without any permission from the estate, leading to him being sued for another $300,000. It was backlogged for about 3 years, but a federal judge took over the case, believing that Pound Cake was sharply different from Jimmy Smith rap, and that Drake had transformed the song more than enough to have reasonable fair use over it. As a future art collector himself, in February of 2014, Drake called Jay-Z's art references corny, with Jay-Z firing back calling Miss Drizzy a wannabe. Drake responded on Draft Day and in an encore interview making fun of Jay's fondue play. So Jay-Z told him he's soft as a lacrosse team. And then on Summer 16, Drake admitted he wanted to be on Rockefeller, but turned into Jay. No, he didn't. OVO sucks. And that was the last interaction the two had before Pop Style released. So to say fans were confused, just a tiny bit. Jay-Z fanned the flames a bit more, saying he owns his own masters while Drake receives royalties, and that he's nothing like the real Hove. And then Drake was like, "Hey, buddy, it took you a while to own those masters, didn't it, guy?" And then Jay-Z was like, all my albums are platinum, my boy, all 12 of them." Jay-Z understood he's not a businessman, he's a business man. Oh! So he handled his business and let bygones be bygones, remixing Drake's KMT, which was an obvious ripoff of XXXTentacion's Look at Me, which was directly influenced by Young Roddy's Water, who often worked with Young Money back in the day, an interesting coincidental full circle moment. Since then, they've been on good terms, releasing Talk Up, which Jay-Z was really adamant about, recording it days before it was released, with his engineer Young Guru saying it took about 2 hours to record on a very hectic night. They also released Love All, which served as a Kanye diss if anything, but along with Pop Style, on that same day, Drake released One Dance, becoming bigger than anything he imagined. Dancehall music originated in Jamaica around the 70s, growing slowly in popularity until Sean Paul brought it to the mainstream with Get Busy and Baby Boy in the 2000s. Afrobeats is in a similar tune, but there's a distinct drum beat to it that's constant throughout. Not like an 808s, but more like a rhythm. There's tons of artists to credit for both these growing in popularity, and Drake was not the first to bring it to the mainstream, but he did make it popular around this time, charting 4 songs in these two genres. He was also working with artists like Wizkid, Popcan, and he previously made the song Find Your Love when Kanye was mixing up Jamaican beats. But Movado, the artist who was heavily featured in that music video, came back years later to speak on Drake's appropriation of Jamaica, saying, "You will never be a Yardman," and "You are not from dancehall, you have no power in dancehall, and everybody know who introduced you to dancehall." While watching Popcan's IG Live, Drake responded with something I'm not even going to attempt to say. He's not Jamaican, okay? I cannot clue you into why he thinks he is. And it wasn't only Movado, as other Jamaican dancehall artists like Sean Paul had a problem with it as well. We could also discuss his appropriation of the UK grime scene, the Atlanta trap scene, the Houston R&B scene, his Dominican era, and his recent dive into house music, but it all serves the same purpose to say, he's using someone else's identity because he either lost his own or never truly had one in the first place. To his credit, he did popularize blending pop and R&B elements to his rapping, with his ability to sing setting him just apart from his contemporaries, leading the way for a new generation of artists like Bryson Tiller, Tory Lanez, Roddy Ricch, PNB Rock, etc., etc. But I'd argue that Kanye West and Kid Cudi played an equal role in that too. The famous 6 popularized by Drake wasn't something he himself came up with. Some of that credit goes to Jimmy Prime, which he has admitted on an interview with Nardwuar. But then when asked about it during The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, he lied right to our faces, saying, "We were debating on the 4, but I went tail end on them and went 6. We caught you, Drake, you master manipulator." Anytime Drake or anyone else has tried explaining the 6 to me, the area code shit, I thought it was so corny, alright? I might have educatedly lied and said he stole it from Atlanta's Zone 6, which may not be true, but I'd rather that be the definitive way of how he got it than the fucking area codes. Like, he already took it from someone, right? He was gonna appropriate it either way. No one credits Jimmy Prime for the 6 anyway, right? So let's just call it equal grounds and say he stole it from both places. When asked about all these appropriating accusations, Drake said, "Appropriating is taking it for your own personal gain and denying it was ever inspired from this. Anytime I embark on one of these journeys, I ensure that I am not only paying all due respects verbally, I make a point to give opportunity to people that I respect." To some, they agree, such as UK drill rapper Stormzy, who believes Drake's presence on a song is undeniably a good thing, bringing massive light to the genre when he pays homage to their style. Others like New Orleans bounce rapper Fifth Ward Weeby agree with that sentiment as well, but adding that Drake should hand out more opportunities than just absorbing the culture. To me, what sets the difference up between him putting a culture on versus him appropriating that culture is the way he goes about it. Take for example Jamaica. It was his creative idea to portray the city as violent, filled with dangerous traffickers. It was he who adopted their slang, using it in the most cringeworthy fashion, and he who denies such appropriation, saying it's just a collaboration. But then he'll step right back into wanting to be accepted as a Nigerman when he gets his father's ancestry results. Look at it like this, right? Let's say you have a friend in your friend group that constantly copies your jokes, but laughs just a bit harder. And now let's say he starts doing that to everybody else in the friend group. And now let's say one of your other friends has this thick Chinese accent. Well, what Drake is doing is using that Chinese accent to tell your joke, laughing harder, and then saying, hey, it's just a joke, right? I thought we were all in this together. By the way, I'm now a Dominican from the Bronx.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Whoa, what was that?
Oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong? Sorry, I was just trying to do the okay cool thing. But
It'd get pretty annoying, right? But that's his strong suit, evident by his obsessive nature over Rihanna starting all the way back in that Lucky Strikes bowling alley. For years, there was a conversation between whether the two were in a relationship or not, but Rihanna had always denied so. Drake had written a verse about her, fought Chris Brown for her, opened a restaurant in her name, stalked her childhood home, dressed up as her for some odd reason, said she was his ultimate fantasy, wished he could have had a family with her. But in the end, he was always left hurt, even being rejected by her on a global stage.
But most of all, we love the woman who hasn't changed since day one. She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old.
Although Rihanna has always denied it, many things suggest they were more than just friends. They'd be seen locking lips back in 2009, they've collaborated on numerous songs, she's danced up on him during a concert, even kissing him on stage. They had matching ankle tattoos, they were out on supposed dates back in 2011, they rekindled back in 2014 through 2016, where videos show she was all up on him. He's even bought her a billboard to make himself look better. It's obvious that something was going on, but they never made it official. And by 2018, she was wincing at the thought of his name. So, what exactly happened? By March of 2014, it was already an ongoing rumor that the pair were dating. But if you couldn't already tell, besides admitting to goonerism, there are signs pointing to sex addiction. And yeah, I get it. Famous rapper with the ability to get with most women. Fair enough. But he's never held down a relationship. When was the last time you heard Drake with a girlfriend? It's always been flings, and luckily for us, it was the same with Rihanna.
You know, I'm so sick of people saying that that I'm lonely and emotional and associating me with this longing for a woman or
sad guy.
Yeah, I hate that, man. It bothers me so much because excited. My life is constantly exciting. It's not some sad, depressing story.
He felt like her pawn. She was doing the same things he's done to so many women in his life. She made him feel small and nervous. So maybe that's why in October 2014, he felt the need to cheat on her. For weeks, a woman named India Love showed up to all of Drake's concerts, even when the boy was thought to be dating Rihanna. Posting this cryptic message on her Twitter, rumors speculating that the two had hooked up. In that same month, after posting pictures of the handbags Drake had bought her, Instagram model Shay G told reporters that Drake was sending her threatening messages. One so aggressive that she had to involve her father and the Arizona Police Department. A similar situation happened around that time with the stripper named Johnny Blaze, fire name by the way, who Drake met while he was out with Rihanna at her club. Johnny told the Houston PD that Drake had begun angrily texting her and sending his OVO goons to her house, all because she said she might make their hookup public. Now, why would Drake be so angry as to threaten two women over some photos? Well, it's because they proved Drake's infidelity. It showed Rihanna he wasn't willing to settle down, and that's why she always denied their relationship. But that only played one part to it. In June of 2016, Drake and Rihanna teamed up on Work and Too Good, both of which saw huge commercial success, but they also rekindled whatever they had. But I'm pretty sure Rihanna noticed something different this time. She was a superstar. She had no fear, the cameras were here, and she was on her way to becoming a billionaire. She had more hits than Drake, was by far more loved and popular. She's also a dominatrix, so why settle down with someone who keeps making your moments about them? That's what Drake was doing. He presented her an award, he made it about himself. He congratulated her with a billboard, he made it about himself. They got matching tattoos of a plush shark Drake had gifted her. So my guess is that she realized if she were to stay, she'd be holding herself back, which is probably why she called things off, covered up her tattoo, and wasn't trying to collaborate with him again. From his lyrics, we can piece up the rest, with the song Effin' Fans referencing their relationship, saying he should have prioritized it instead of sleeping with his fans. But two lines in particular fill in the blanks. During one of his tour dates in Las Vegas, Rihanna showed up for a surprise appearance, but on that same night, photos surfaced of the boy in despair, when he allegedly locked Rihanna out of their hotel room after she had broken up with him. The two eventually moved on, and by January of 2020, she was hooking up with A$AP Rocky, with the two of them calling it official by the end of the year. Something Drake was not happy with. In January of 2022, the two had announced they were expecting a child, with this infamous video of Drake coming as a result of that.
It's Drake on his phone for just an instant, alongside basketball czar of the Raptors, Masai Ujiri.
On Fear of Heights, Drake finally addressed our relationship, saying he wasn't caught up over Rihanna since his sex with her was average, that he slept with battered women, and that A$AP Rocky is now stuck with her. It was the type of response you'd hear from a high schooler, not a grown adult. Man, you wanted to start a family with her, you embarrassed yourself for her, and you talked about how much you loved her for years, all that for some average sex? Something ain't quite adding up. What? Are you in your feelings of a woman? What? Are you head of some? Did Flacco really hit it first, son? No, that wasn't a bar about Rihanna. That was about Sophie Brousseau, Drake's baby mother, who A$AP Rocky slept with first and a few other people. Unverified sources say they were even sleeping together when Sophie was pregnant with Adonis. So, that's something for Adonis to get therapy about. During the Civil War, Drake released Family Matters saying, Rocky ain't talking shit again? Oh yeah, buddy? Well, I slept with Sophie. That's why she was pregnant when she was sleeping with you, friend. Also, I know you're too busy having sex with Rihanna and all, but ask her about me, guy. She'll tell you I launched a failing restaurant in her name. It was actually named Frings. No, I'm like really not kidding. In September of 2015, Drake opened up a restaurant named Frings with this guy, Iron Chef Lee. Some of you might know him from TikTok, but he once worked with Drake. They became good friends on Drake's 26th birthday, with him continuing to be a regular at Iron Chef Lee's restaurant, soon forming a business relationship and opening up Frings. On opening night, Drake even served Jada Pinkett Smith and Serena Williams some chicken sliders and fries, but all that came to a halt in under 3 years. On June 23rd of 2018, Frings had shut down, with sources citing their IOU tip withholding practice being the reason why. This meant the owners were taking tips, upwards of more than $100 from staff to cover kitchen mistakes, creating a culture of fear and intimidation. It's a practice forbidden under Ontario jurisdiction, so that paired with them losing their liquor license the previous spring, caused the restaurant to shut down. So that's a penny for your thoughts every time you see this guy. But that wasn't his only foray into the culinary world, as he opened a luxury bar named Pick 6 in February of 2018, receiving negative stars for its disastrous meals that are far too overpriced and expensive, rude staff, and raggedy bathrooms, which is why it came to no one's surprise when the bar was closed down due to unpaid rent, after it lost business due to safety concerns. Tragically, 3 months after its opening, a man named Jaden Jackson was attending a private party where Drake himself was there. While leaving, he was pulled up by a black Honda Civic where 2 armed men jumped out and shot Jaden 20 times, leaving him to die. To my knowledge, the case went unsolved, and Drake had never spoken about it, leading to Pick 6 losing its popularity and eventually shutting down. But he didn't stop there. In 2018, Drake revealed on a Twitch stream with Ninja that he doesn't eat meat anymore, being praised by vegan blogs for it. It was all a ruse to get everyone interested in his next investment, Daring Foods, an alternative plant-based chicken that aims to eliminate chickens from the food system, which honestly sounds worse than slaughtering them. It was also downright a lie, with his latest culinary investment proving just that. He purchased a large stake at Dave's Hot Chicken. What a guy, huh? Well, he does know how to pick some damn good chicken. It's halal, endorsed by Samuel L. Jackson and my mother, also quickly growing to be one of the biggest fast food chains in the world. It's better than Raising Cane's, argue with your own mouth. I don't care if Drake is an investor, it's some damn good chicken. For my whiskey lovers out there, I'm sure you've never heard of Virginia Black, a bourbon whiskey founded by Drake prior to the release of Views, with a bottle design tailored specifically to appeal to women. On its release on October of 2016, it broke Canadian records, selling out almost 1,800 bottles on the first day, 30,000 at the end of the year, yippee-ki-yay. But now it sits on no shelves, or none that I've seen myself. In a study conducted on the average cost of celebrity drinks versus their ratings, Drake's came out at the very bottom, classified as the worst value liquor. To quote a Redditor who gave it his honest review, if I was a 14-year-old looking for something to drink, this would probably be a great idea. So, to conclude this segment, no, he could not make enough money off Virginia Black to stop rapping. But he didn't need to. His Summer 16 tour was the highest grossing rap tour of all time, being beaten only by himself with the Aubrey and the Three Amigos tour. And then again with his most recent tour, It's All a Blur. His album Views had gone multi-platinum with multiple songs reaching 1 billion views. One Dance even broke Spotify's record for most streams. After claiming the year of 2016, it was time to become the deadbeat that started saying more life. Personally, I have to say, it was a pretty good mixtape. Young Thug's verse on Sacrifices is some of his best work. Sampha's feature was highly underrated, and the cover art featured a photo of his father, which I think should have been this image, but perhaps he did it to remind himself of what he was soon going to become. Before we talk about that, I'm going to apologize for my last video. I reported that Drake fed lies to Kendrick, and truly I wanted to stick with the story presented, not all the rumors going around, but I can see how that's wrong. You know, he never fed lies to Kendrick, but the point stands true. We don't know if he has a secret daughter. The working theory that everybody has gone with spread from Reddit and a DJ Academics post, which shows no real evidence. The girl's mom has asked people to stop harassing them, so please stop doing that. Imagine you don't have a dad and the internet now thinks Drake is your dad, but he's not claiming you. And now you have all these internet detectives going through your private life as an 11-year-old to dig up any information they can. How about we just leave that alone? Again, apologies for saying Drake lied. I didn't even believe that myself. But I didn't want to accuse some random girl of being his daughter. That was up until I found this article from April of 2014. Could Drake have a love child in Miami? A woman named Sharkiva Myrick posted a photo of who was apparently Drake's son, captioning it, "He can't deny it, F what the media say." The photos were pretty convincing. The boy looked like a spitting image of his father, who was not Drake, but rather this dude over here, debunking that whole theory. But we're not done just yet. You remember the Live Miami nightclub? The one where P. Diddy punched his shoulder? Well, he likes to go there pretty often. Want to know why? In April of 2015, an unnamed Haitian American woman worked there as a bottle waitress and alleged Drake had a 2-year-old baby girl that he agreed to take a paternity test on. He was voluntarily paying the woman $15,000 a month in child support. But that was the last we ever heard of this situation. Now I'm going to present my own theory, and I want you to understand that it doesn't mean anything concrete. But he was at the nightclub in April of 2012. If she was 2 in 2015, she would have been born in 2013, fitting the timeline. If she was born in 2013, she would be 11 years old right now, the age Kendrick suggested on Meet the Grams. In March of 2012, he sold his condo in Miami to Mario Chalmers. So, did he pull a fast one? Look, it's a fucking TikTok and Lipstick Alley theory, alright? We're not digging anywhere deep. Until he admits he has a daughter, or until she addresses herself, I think most everybody should just leave this alone. Because no matter what the answer is, it's not our business, okay? We're not helping her, and frankly, what would you do with that information? In April of 2017, a woman by the name of Laquana Morris, or Layla Lace, claimed she was pregnant with Drake's child. Drake admitted to having consensually hooked up with her in February of 2017, including oral sex that she voluntarily performed. Layla exposed texts between the two after their initial meeting. He seemed into it at first, but was dry texting her after. She bought a ticket to Europe to see him, but was hurt by his good guy image, realizing he was just another Zion tier gooner. Somehow, she's now pregnant. She has no money, she needs child support. Somehow, she has the money for a team of lawyers, but Drake has one stipulation: take a paternity test and I'll be the father. No, I will not pee for you, and not only am I now pregnant with your child, you assaulted me that night, made me spit a lot, and now I demand millions of dollars in exchange for my silence. This opened an actual criminal investigation with the Manchester Police Department, who could not find any credible evidence of a pregnancy or sexual assault, and they were unable to take any further action. Still, Drake opted to settle for an undisclosed amount that Laquana and her lawyers declined, saying it wasn't a good enough offer. When asked to take a paternity test, she refused, so Drake filed a lawsuit against her for civil extortion and defamation. There was no credible evidence of her pregnancy, not even months later. She also signed an order prohibiting her from making any statements alleging Drake assaulted her, but she assumed it was a fake lawsuit, just a publicity stunt, which unfortunately led to an ICU visit. After her attempt, Drake's team agreed to a settlement of $350,000, including a confidentiality agreement. In total, she received about $200,000 split amongst her and her attorneys, but she decided to file a further complaint against her own attorney, in the process admitting that she recorded sensitive meetings and pressured Drake to send the rest of the money. This led to a breach of contract where she had to return the initial payment, but was still responsible for her attorney balances.
How sure are you that you're pregnant by Drake and not somebody else?
Let me tell you something. And I'm going to just make this clear because, I have been asked that before.
Mm-hmm.
I have a child, okay?
Okay.
I'm a mother already, okay? I know who I sleep with unprotected, period.
Mm.
So, it's 100% sure. He knows it. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to just leave it as that,
And when you approached him about it, because you told him you were pregnant.
Right.
What was his response to that information?
He pretty much was just like, oh, what's wrong? And then I told him, and then he pretty much was like, I'm going to call you back. And the phone calls just stopped. Everything stopped.
And now, my friends, is where we scar Adonis for life. Little boy, sit down. I'm about to tell you the story of your life. Your mother, Sophie, well, she's a film star. You just won't see her on TV. Some of your distant uncles are James Harden, Iman Shumpert, and I'm sorry, buddy, you were in the womb when things were getting a little rocky. Your father, well, he didn't even claim you when you were born. Matter of fact, he wanted to have you aborted. He said your mother was a town square. He was a deadbeat-ass dad. It took 2 DNA tests from 2 different companies for him to finally claim you, buddy. I'm sorry you had to learn it this way, guy. It ain't easy being your daddy's sperm. Just be glad you aren't your brothers or sisters who died by hot sauce. Okay, I did drag it. After finding out Adonis was his child, he was financially supporting them both. Reports say that even before the paternity test, he was helping her out. So to point at him and say he's a terrible father, not necessarily. But during that first year, we didn't know Adonis existed. Not up until the release of Pusha T's The Story of Adidon. Now, I know Pusha T was critical to Drake's story, but I need to save that for another day. So just know that Pusha T is half the reason why Drake went forward with sharing Adonis. In terms of deadbeat, it's subjective how you look at it. There's no doubt they spend time together, but is it ever enough? Drake's out touring, at the studio, at nightclubs, in Millie Bobby Brown's DMs, in a tragic type of way. Drake ended up as the type of father Dennis was to him, not always being present in Adonis' life.
So you don't know if he's taking any shots at Pusha T?
No, I don't discuss it.
You don't?
I don't discuss it.
You think he's going to talk about the situation with the baby or anything?
Let's go.
The French baby.
Gotta go.
Hey Dennis, how's the new Bentley, man? When you say what baby, you just you don't think he's going to refer to that at all?
I don't
know anything about baby. Okay then, Dennis.
I talk about my son's business.
You don't want to talk about their business?
It's good.
But it's kind of yours as well, in a way, you know what I mean?
Grandfather, yeah? Not my business.
So but you don't consider yourself like the grandfather or anything? I know it's all
grandfather to what? What are you talking about?
To Drake's, I know it's maybe it's only alleged right now, but it's probably your grandson. I don't know. I would be happy if I were you. I'm sorry. I'm just putting myself in your shoes.
I'm wearing sneakers. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's a talk for Adonis and his therapist. I'm just the instigator, and I'm placing my bets right now. Northwest will be a bigger star than Adonis Graham. Bomb and Talkin have so far wiped down anything Adonis has made, and comparing North's artwork to Adonis, clearly talent is passed down through the genes. Drake can only hope his secret daughter caught his musical itch because, oh boy, Adonis did not.
Man. Don't talk to my man like that.
Let it burn. Let it burn. It's burning.
Boo! Hey, Tom, shut the fuck up.
Also, no disrespect to Sophie, my apologies. She has 2 degrees, one in international affairs and the other being wealth management. She's an award-winning artist. She's even painted for Pope Francis. She started a nonprofit for Black artists in Toronto. She's not just, So before you think of her like that, she's probably accomplished a lot more than you and I have ever done. 2016 through 2018 were arguably some of Drake's most commercially successful years, and by March of 2017, he grossed about $40 million on his Boy Meets World tour, bringing out Toronto rapper Pressa as the opening act on the European leg. What the police were wondering was, why is Pressa there? He was one of the leaders of the Young Buck Killers, but more importantly, he was out on bail under kidnapping and gun-related charges, where he held 2 rival teenage gang members hostage, forcing them to play Russian roulette and do sexual favors. He was out on bail and allowed to leave the country for work purposes, but still, it's kind of disgusting that he brought this alleged along. On further investigations, it looks like around the time of the kidnapping, the rapper Sizzlack was shot and killed during a house party gone wrong. And Pressa or his gang, the Young Buck Killers, were somewhat responsible, doing so in retaliation for a diss track. So truly, the reason he brought him along was out of pettiness. But I'm kind of glad it backfired in his face. 2017 was a high point for Drake. He was announced to be the first ever host for the 2017 NBA Awards on TNT, and to his credit, it was good humor.
You know, I do want to say, LeVar Ball is proof of something that doesn't get enough attention in this country. The black father that's around too much. He's just there all the time. Doesn't miss a birthday, a game. He's around all the time.
Before he was Drake, he was wheelchair basketball legend Jimmy Brooks. His love for the sport is tied hand and foot with his music, and it's clear that he still shares love for it till this day. His embassy features a gigantic My Court, one that he actually invites real players to practice in. His presence in the NBA has long been standing, forming a friendship with LeBron all the way back in 2009, which led to courtside seats, the documentary The Carter Effect, and them regularly watching Sierra Canyon High School basketball games together. Let's not forget, Aubrey is a huge fan of girls' high school basketball. He was at one point the coach of a team, not holding up that position for too long since he was undoubtedly creepy, graduating at Drake University where he was begged to perform due to them sharing a common name. Like the troll he is, he showed up to the Iowa campus at 2:30 a.m. to find only one student awake. When he began knocking on the doors, they didn't bother or thought he was a murderer, but most were just disappointed they didn't get to see him. They got hashtag bring Drake to Drake trending on Twitter. Drake jerked them with "I'ma pull up on ya," disappointing them again by not pulling up on them, since he was too busy bandwagoning the University of Kentucky, starting all the way back in 2010 when he had a proud girlfriend moment with a young DeMarcus Cousins. In July of 2012, when the Wildcats won the NCAA title, Drake received a complimentary championship ring, which would be Kentucky's last, but weirdly the first of many for Drake. And if you're wondering why he got one, it's because he goes all the way back with Coach John Calipari, who asked him to narrate The Bluegrass Kingdom, a documentary about the Kentucky Wildcats. In July of 2015, this photo was taken of Drake with a newer Kentucky recruit, causing controversy for breaking NCAA guidelines somehow, which leads me to an even bigger point. The NCAA needs to change. They control their players way too much and run a monopoly system, with former college athletes often complaining about their mistreatment, superstars going hungry, and all the sexual misconduct that goes on there. Would you guys want to see a video where I talk about all that? I swear I'm not a one-trick pony, all right? It'd be some wild things you could never imagine could happen in college basketball. In July of 2016, another situation occurred when Drake took this photo with point guard Tyler Ulis at a Chicago after party, being considered as preferential treatment, leading to his relationship with the Wildcats souring for a bit until 2023 when they were seen practicing at his court. His days at Kentucky often led to a ton of memeable moments, ones that he himself recognized. But if you were around during the 2014 Twitter era, there's a certain chance you might remember this little video.
I think that battle tested this group. We just saw Drake take a jump shot. He didn't even draw iron.
Yeah. But can we give, I mean, look, understanding that this is also, we talked about this.
Yup, he wasn't going to cut the team, so he took his talents to South Beach, being denied access into the Miami Heat locker room after they won the 2013 NBA Finals. The security guard told him no one's allowed without a media pass. Drake responded with, I am the media.
Let him in, Brett.
No access for everybody but us?
No, this is media. Pure media.
Drake getting turned down. Visiting Drake. He's with us. Did that just happen?
Yeah.
Obviously, he wasn't, but he did go on a press tour of a lifetime, being interviewed more than the literal players. But why did he care so much about the Heat? Wait, but no, he's actually a Golden State Warriors fan. No, that's just because he liked KD and Steph Curry at the time. Wait, he's actually a Phoenix Suns fan. No, that's just because he wanted to spite Kanye West and rub toes with Devin Booker. Wait. Oh yeah, he's a Toronto Raptors fan. Drake's always supported two teams, his hometown Raptors and whoever he wanted to sleep with at the time. But by September of 2013, his appreciation for Toronto was well noticed, being nominated to serve as a role of the Raptors global ambassador, meaning courtside seats, access to locker rooms, custom jerseys, and perks that not even money can buy, including the OVO Athletic Center for the Raptors to train in, and his own event called Drake Night, where they collaborate with OVO to put on a show. When asked about his opinions on Drake Night, Kevin Durant said,
we put a team on the foul line. We put a team on the foul line that much, they bound to score a lot. So,
and this was Drake Night here, and he's the one who just interrupted us. Give me a taste of what the trash talk was like, what the what the interaction was like with your buddy there.
I don't give a damn about no damn Drake Night.
However, that did not stop Drake from getting a tattoo of KD and Steph Curry's jersey numbers while in a photo shoot wearing LeBron's high school jersey. But as an ambassador, he now played a role with tampering, resulting in those Kentucky violations, and in August of 2014, KD attended one of Drake's shows, receiving a shout-out asking him to come play in Toronto, which violated the NBA's anti-tampering laws, resulting in the Raptors being fined $25,000 for Drake's actions. Although he's not a player, Drake's made his presence known on the court, and it's usually not for good reasons. Other than the occasional times he's ruined historical photos, he's gotten into verbal exchanges with the players themselves, including Game 1 of the 2018 playoffs, where he had some heated words with Kendrick Perkins telling him to meet him on the court. In May of 2019, when the Raptors had their first real shot at winning the NBA Finals, Drake was courtside, playing well for the team, averaging about 14 points during the finals. But in Game 1 against the Warriors, he covered up his tattoos and started running up his mouth. He was previously warned about his conduct during Game 4 against the Bucks, where he was seen trolling Giannis, doing cringeworthy emotes on missed free throws. He was even using Coach Bud's daughter as an Instagram profile pic? What the fuck? But what got officials most frustrated with him was him massaging head coach of the Raptors, Nick Nurse. Not anything too crazy, but it did bring up questions about boundaries and safety. During the finals against the Warriors, he was more belligerent, calling Draymond Green trash, picking fuzz out of Steph Curry's hair, and overall being a nuisance to the team he loved just 3 years ago. During the second game, he wore a hoodie mocking an injured Kevin Durant. Bro, you're friends with him. And he was also posting hundreds of memes. Even Obama had to ask if he was behaving himself. By this point, most regular people would have been kicked out, but Adam Silver issued a personal statement to Drake warning him about his misconduct, telling this grown man to keep his hands to himself, and that boundaries should be set in place between a superfan and the teams, ones that he shouldn't cross. To be fair, most players and professional athletes don't take Drake seriously. Draymond wasn't worried about him. He's still good friends with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, and his presence did garner a ton of press. When the Raptors thankfully won the 2019 NBA Finals, Drake received a complimentary ring for his role as team ambassador, but he also got himself another custom ring to pretend like he actually did something. In February of 2020, Drake opened up his own recreational league named Sanctuary Basketball League, the poor man's NBA, and in May of 2021, his team won their championship, so Drake bought each of his teammates a $50,000 ring. In September of 2022, his team won their second championship back-to-back, so he bought himself a $100,000 custom ring, with all of this being made by Jason of Beverly Hills, the NBA's custom jeweler. Lastly, he called upon his connections within the girls' high school basketball world, recruiting Lil Cece on the beat for Money in the Grave. But she's since come out to say that people who try to paint Drake as creepy for that are weirdos. In September of 2023, Noah Lyles made himself hated to the entire NBA world and one Canadian who said no one in the league rates him. Like, Drake, what are you doing here? Go back home. This is an NBA conversation. Fair enough. Drake can't shoot. He bandwagons teams, players, and coaches. Can't trash talk without looking sassy. He can't even get a real six-pack. And has the worst luck betting on teams. Dubbed the Drake curse by many, it's a real fear professional athletes face, wherein they don't want Drake supporting their team because it could potentially lead to their loss. The curse can take effect through various means, most notably through his lyrics, gambling addiction, and presence. The Toronto Raptors won partially through luck and injuries, let's not kid ourselves. The Kentucky Wildcats have failed to win any gold since 2012. The song Draft Day cursed both Andrew Wiggins and Johnny Manziel. The Miami Heat lost to the Spurs in 2014 with Drake's support. He lost $60,000 supporting the Warriors in the 2016 finals, and close to $1 million this year alone on the Mavericks and the Oilers. But that's really just the start. During the semifinals of the 2015 US Open, Serena Williams was projected to either win the full thing or make it to the finals, but unfortunately she lost, with the media blaming it on the curse, as he who shall be named, Drake, was courtside cheering her on. When asked about the loss, she didn't think it was fair to blame Drake the way Twitter was doing, but during the ESPYs this year, she made her real thoughts known, dancing to Kendrick's Not Like Us. In October of 2018, Conor McGregor brought Drake out during the weigh-ins against Khabib. I'm sure you know what happened there. For those of you that lost money on Tyson Fury, Israel Adesanya, Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul, you know who to blame. If you're a fan of the Alabama Crimson, Roll Tide! Drake is too, being blamed twice for their championship losses. Are you a fan of Manchester City, Arsenal, or PSG? Well, tell Drake to stop taking pictures with your players. He's been known to curse them. Are you a fan of any Canadian teams? The Blue Jays, the Oilers, Copa America? There's a certain reason why they haven't won a championship in decades. They're cursed. But it'd be too much to discuss here, so I'll give one final example. The biggest goddamn victim of this damn curse is his wallet. Throughout early 2022, Drake started placing losing bets on an online gambling platform known as Stake, shortly followed by a partnership with them where he was getting paid $100 million a year to promote the company, using their site Kick to funnel his audience into and get them hooked on losing their money as well, which has since been coined as the Drake effect. By March of 2022, Drake had already wagered up to $1 billion, so you'd think he'd win a lot of money, right? No, but he is contractually obligated to do streams. Even if it's for 10 minutes a month, he'll get on and wager over $25 million and lose it all within that time frame. Fuck you, man. During a game alongside French Montana, he started with almost $9 million, went up to $27 million, and then ended the stream with less than $2 million. You fuck. Whether that money's from stake, his own bank account, or the very few times he actually did win a couple million, we don't know, but that's none of our business. I really wish it was, though. Throughout these streams, he's so nonchalant about losing millions, he might have a deep pocket, but his fans don't. I'm not going to be your parent, but there's thousands of articles, hundreds of documentaries, and millions of people around the world who've had their lives destroyed because of gambling. So just don't start. Instead, think about investing into an ETF or using that money to develop a trade skill. Go over your personal finances weekly, pay your debts. Do not, under any circumstances, get a credit card that's 29% interest rate. Don't open an Apple Card unless you like to look at red. Open a high yield savings account. I'm trying to help you, my spree watchers. We need to get this bread together. Also, I've been thinking about streaming, and my idea for the first 4 streams that I go over topics that I failed to mention in all these videos, or brush up on ideas, give theories, and interact with you guys. I love you guys. Come on. Obviously, I'm gonna do it on YouTube because I don't know how to use Twitch and other streaming platforms like Kick. The one Drake uses, they have individuals like these.
I'm 13.
Yeah, I'm willing to risk that shit. Come on.
Risk is crazy.
Nigga, I'm 20.
You know how
Nigga, that's
down-
7 years. 7 years. Be with me, bruh. 20 and 13 is not that deep, bruh. I'm 20. How old are you? Nigga, in your country, it's probably legal.
And that, my friends, is only a small glimpse into the world of Kick streamers. It's an absolutely unchecked platform, and I've had my fair share of run-ins with them, so go check those out, please. By the way, it's not like Drake is unaware of the streaming world. He's part owner of 100 Thieves, and some kind of disturbing news was recently unveiled by some ordinary chickens. Snow is a small Kick streamer with zero talent, using the app Monkey to entertain her audience by interacting with other people. In those streams, she would ask girls, often people who fail to mention their age, to flash each other on camera, which is Kick's underlying predator problem. More explained over here. But if you're wondering what that has to do with Drake...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Aiden, you're too famous. I'm not rating your shit. Shout out to Aiden Ross, though.
Yeah, shout out.
This is my homegirl from Toronto right here. Rate her stream right.
All
But
right.
this is my homegirl. She is very funny, and she's very crazy. So rate her stream.
All right,
God
chat.
bless her.
Thanks so much.
Love y'all.
So pretty. Wow. How old are you?
I'm pretty too. I'm 18.
You want to zip down your shirt until your boobs flop out?
Oh, you're so beautiful.
You too. Should we show each other? You could just like have your thong on. Do you want to flash each other? Should we show each other our bra? I feel like we could build a strong friendship if we flash.
Are we supposed to? If you wanted to FaceTime with me, all you had to do was say that.
I'm
You didn't
not
have to make me
FaceTiming with you. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying, if you wanted to have a little combo, you didn't have to make me come on Monkey. You could just call me, but it's all good though. I don't see the third person.
I promise you there's third, like right now this person is loading. D, she's 18 from Tallahassee. Hi D. Can you see the person that I'm doing with or no? Do you
No.
see 2 people or no?
Yes.
Do you know
It
who that
looks
is?
like Drake.
No, that's not Drake. That it looks like him, he's not though.
No, I don't know who it is, but it looks like
Why,
Drake.
do you guys like Drake or something?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Why? Wow, they skipped.
Wow, that's cool.
I'm not going to throw around any accusations, but it is an indication of character when these are the streamers he's following. If you peel the layers back, you start unraveling this rabbit hole of degeneracy connected to Drake. From the betting curse, to the gambling streams, to the women he hooks up with, to the young girls he DMs, to the strippers he harassed, to the artists he shelved, to the ghostwriters he's ruined, to the son he wanted to aboot, to the lifestyle he cosplays. It's things you never see, just things that often get revealed. To be so successful, harboring all that, it's some real scary hours, a mini EP released back in January of 2018 during a time when many leaks of his music were surfacing online, including Diplomatic Immunity, having references to the many ongoing feuds he was in during that time, which was all packed into a 16-bit game called The Legend of Drake: Rise's Sixth God, made by game developer Sprightly. It featured a Final Fantasy style gameplay with characters like Drake and Future fighting their way through enemies like Kendrick Lamar, Nicki Minaj, Meek Mill, and Kanye West. Although you can't play this game anymore, a free game made by Richie Banson named Not Like Us the Game is out there, being an extreme step down from the passion and love that went into the legend of Drake. Scary Hours was also bundled with God's Plan, his first song to reach #1 as a solo artist, and fun fact, it originally featured Trippie Redd during his Life's a Trip era, so we could have had a real banger, but sadly, it's become the Target store anthem. The music video showed Drake's generosity and popularity in Miami, handing out $1 million in cash, groceries, food, gifts, and spending time with the people there, inspiring many memes about friendship and good fortune. Despite what you might think, this wasn't his first or last time being charitable. He's been donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity every year, whether it's to schools, to his community, to homeless shelters, to single mothers, or to relief efforts. He's helped out hundreds, if not thousands of people. An amazing show of philanthropy, something he should have focused on rather than developing a gambling addiction. After releasing the Fortnite emo with Blockboy JB, Drake was set on releasing his first double album, Scorpion, which came a month after his whole feud with Pusha T. It was his first acknowledgement of both Adonis and Sophie, with the editor's note having things like, Drake doesn't even write his own songs,
really
Drake is
doesn't.
an actor, Drake thinks he's Jamaican, Drake took an L, and he didn't deny it, more so mocking those statements. Upon the release of Scorpion, an influencer named Shiggy posted a video of him dancing along to his song In My Feelings while on the street, with other celebrities like Ciara and Odell Beckham Jr. following along by hopping out of their parked cars to do the dance. It took a dangerous step further when people were hopping out of their moving cars, to do the challenge, often running into a car door or breaking something in the process. The National Transportation Safety Board had to advise people to stop getting out of their cars to do a foolish dance, with countries like Egypt, Kuwait, India, Spain, and Malaysia making it a criminal offense punishable by fine or up to a year in prison. A disgraced Israeli politician who is now under suspicion of fraud, posted the Kiki challenge to his followers, where he was advised to take down the clip by their road safety authority. Most interestingly, wait for the pun, a most wanted fugitive performed the Kiki challenge while being escorted into a squad car by police officers.
Landed at Southwest Regional Airport in Benton Harbor this afternoon and danced his way onto the tarmac. FBI agents arrested him on July 31st in Georgia. Mims was wanted for the March 25th murders of 2 men in Benton Harbor. The FBI got involved in the case on May 2nd when they took out a federal arrest warrant for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Mims faces 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder.
Following Scorpion, he went on the feature run of a lifetime. Walk It Talk It, Going Bad, Yes Indeed, No Complaints, Bad Bunny's Mia, French Montana's No Stylist. He co-wrote for Kanye and his biggest uncredited feature with Sicko Mode. He joined Netflix's Top Boy and HBO's Euphoria as executive producers, and he now had 3 albums that were 5-time certified platinum, making him one of the most commercially successful musicians of all time, breaking multiple records throughout. Scientists at the University of Arizona were urging parents to listen to Drake in order to better understand their children, which would have been easy if they were using Spotify, as the site was promoting his album on almost every playlist. If that wasn't enough, the Toronto Metropolitan University offers a real elective course called Deconstructing Drake and the Weeknd, where students learn to understand their impact on the entertainment industry, dissect their lyrics, and learn about their entrepreneurial side. On June 10th of 2018, the city of Houston celebrated its 4th annual Drake Day, because, get this, the city of Houston appreciates Drake for dedicating his time to Houston. Forced out of California after buying 4 homes in it, left out of Toronto after failing the city, will the city of Houston treat him any differently? In May of 2024, it was discovered that he recently bought a $15 million Texas ranch that was originally a closed-down resort due to the pandemic. In August of this year, Drake's new Texas ID surfaced, confirming his move into the Big Booty, capital of the United States, where he may find himself closer to another Houston native, Megan Thee Stallion. In July of 2020, Canadian rapper Tory Lanez reportedly shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, being sentenced to 10 years in prison in August of 2023, where he remains to this day. I'm also interested in doing a full video on this case because it's super complex, with tons of misinformation coming from all sides, really, so stay tuned for that. But in any case, Drake was supportive of Tory Lanez, issuing a diss towards Megan Thee Stallion on Circle Loco, which Megan was none too pleased about, calling him out on Twitter. At the same time, he was being called out by Dram for being dissed on Back Outside Boys, Ice Spice, who realized her fart diaper music just doesn't hit, and Serena Williams' husband, who was proud to be a groupie for Serena. It was finally during January of 2024 when Megan responded with his, coining Drake's six-pack surgery as his BBL, calling him a fraud, a cosplay gangster, said his game ain't on point, and he posts up in other rappers' hoods looking like a proud girlfriend. Due to this, fans credit Megan as having kicked off the Great Rap War of 2024, followed by Kendrick later on in March. Ultimately, 2018 was a turning point for Drake's career. From a well-liked artist to a decrepit culture vulture, a deadbeat dad, a misogynist, and Meek Mill plus Pusha T pushed along this narrative in our minds to always second-guess Drake's lyrics, to see if it were his own or if it were written by someone else. In September of 2018, a revelation was made by a then 14-year-old Millie Bobby Brown that fully shifted the public's gears on Drake. Millie revealed that a 31-year-old Drake was texting her about boy advice, taking her out to dinners in Sydney, Australia, and they were even seen on a yacht together. It was around the same time that rumors circulated about Drake dating an 18-year-old Bella Harris, and also when old clips of him surfaced of him kissing a 17-year-old girl on stage. But since I've already made a video on all that, go check it out over here. From that point forward, there was a looming allegation that Drake was, but there was never any concrete, substantial evidence to pin him down. But he was dealing with more minor issues than most rappers. Still, Drake was at a career high, having won his 4th Grammy for God's Plan at the 2019 showing. His acceptance speech was widely critical of the Recording Academy, calling them biased and saying these awards aren't important, before being rudely cut off and taken to commercial, with the Recording Academy assuming he was done mid-speech, offering to bring him back, with Drake declining to do so. He was previously unhappy with Hotline Bling winning 2 awards in the rap category, when he clearly deserved to be in the pop section, blaming it on how the Recording Academy views black artists in a controlled genre. During the 2020 Grammys, he was enraged the Weeknd's After Hours did not receive any nominations, and by 2022, he already withdrew his nominations for CLB, which weren't gonna win anything anyway. He did win 1 Grammy in 2023, opposite to Kendrick's 3, which he didn't even nominate himself for, only winning because of Future, Thames, and ATL Jacob. As the 2024 Grammys rolled around, he opted to nominate his album, Her Loss, becoming his loss when he didn't win a single award, telling his audience that the Grammys don't dictate shit in our world. From early 2019 to mid-2021, he would pair his momentum with colonizing UK drill music, SoundCloud rappers and producers, the new generation of R&B, and yes, he still had ghostwriters at this point. Just recently, he tried colonizing New York City drill music. Cash Cobain is not to be trusted. We'll talk about that someday, but branching out to different genres kept Drake at the top. He then released a compilation album of old promotional music, the EPs Best in the World and Scary Hours 2, and the mixtape Dark Lane Demo Tapes. There's not really much I can say about this era. A Drake feature around this time meant you were seeing the billboards, someone's playlist, or you were hearing yourself outside. That was up until March of 2020, when an infectious disease known as COVID-19 started becoming a problem, leading to the hardest year in human history, according to Drake. But it wasn't enough for our man Aubrey as he continued to party with his old friend, Kevin Durant. He'd find himself back at the embassy quarantining upon finding out the Slim Reaper contracted the virus. Will the Grim Reaper catch up to him? Those were the thoughts going through his brain when a Q-tip was shoved through his nose by a COVID tester, being one of the first celebrities to talk about getting tested. Corona? Negative. he was safe. For now. In April of 2020, Drake released a mixtape, Dark Lane Demo Tapes, teasing his sixth studio album that would be dropping in the summer of 2020. Dark fact, the song Pain 1993 featuring Playboy Cardi was first teased by a disgusting individual who has assault allegations from 33 different women. In fact, the song was first teased to us by that individual on his Twitter account, the same one he uses to troll the women that he assaulted. In any case, back in November of 2016, Ian Connor and Drake were not on good terms, so I'm not sure what happened between then and early 2020 for them to be friends again. But that wouldn't stay long since Ian decided to block Drake on Instagram when Kanye picked his feud back up with Drake. In my opinion, Ian Connor needs to be excommunicated from the industry, or at the very least, someone should just get him gone, bro. Why the hell do we need someone to sell his fake Vans? He clearly shows no remorse for his actions. His clothing brand Sicko is just reskinned York merch. So genuinely, if you see your favorite rapper with him, call them out. I'm talking to you, ASAP Rocky. Stand on it next time. Although his next album was slated to be released in August of 2020, we only saw the release of Laugh Now, Cry Later, with Drake having to push the date back 3 different times due to various circumstances. In October of 2020, he officially revealed the name Certified Lover Boy to be his next album, slated to be released in January of 2021, but his knee surgery was hindering his progress. When it came time for January, we didn't see any Certified Lover Boys, but he did roll out a new hairstyle, oddly similar to the one Hood Baby Peppa had in 2017, the same year Drake co-signed his song, My Phone. His hair became most of the promotion he needed for his next album, with Twitter trolls feeding into the memes that make him so popular. In August of 2021, one of Drake's fan pages posted a photo making fun of his hairline, having Drake reveal to us that his hairline receded due to COVID-19, a fairly common side effect of the disease. He again contracted COVID 1 year later in August of 2022, having to reschedule his Young Money reunion show with Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj, shifting his focus onto releasing his next album. 2 days before the album was released, Drake used the old Billboard tactic to strategically promote everyone on his album in their respective hometowns, surprising most people with the inclusion of Kid Cudi and Jay-Z, but also having other strong acts like Memphis's Yebba and Project Pat, Atlanta's Future and Young Thug, and Toronto's Lil Wayne? On September 3rd of 2021, after a year of delays, Certified Lover Boy was finally available to stream. It was already met with criticism due to the cover art using 12 pregnant women emojis. It was deemed the worst album cover of 2021. It was ranked lower than Kanye West's Donda, and not surprisingly, it was made by the same creators of CDG. But what is surprising is that the unused cover art was somehow even worse. In terms of music, it was a solid body of work, but nothing we haven't already seen, with it being mostly carried by its features such as Way Too Sexy and Girls Want Girls, both reaching number 1 and number 2 respectively on the Billboard Hot 100. For the fans that grew up on Drake's So Far Gone, Take Care, and Nothing Was the Same, this was their send-off. It was close to a Drake that we knew, but his music had changed so drastically that it was just better to listen to the people he stole from.
Oh yeah. Nigga, I can say oh yeah 130 times, nigga. This shit gon' still be cracked, nigga. Oh yeah.
With Scorpion, he occupied the entire Billboard Top 10 for a week, and for CLB, he broke his own record by occupying the top 21 slots, making this potentially his last quote-unquote great album. Being marketed really well, having solid features, and it came at a time when the public image of Drake was looking repairable after feuding with Pusha T. Drake was too safe in the bubble he found himself in. He was awarded Billboard's Artist of the Decade. He didn't really have to change his sound. He was too comfortable being someone else, steering this album clear of being anything groundbreaking. He'd bounce back from each controversy through his popularity, always leaving unanswered lingering questions about who he was as an individual. That was until November of 2021, when he was featured at a Travis Scott concert where a total of 10 people were tragically crushed in the crowd, with the majority of the blame being placed on Travis Scott and the event organizers. The death of it needs a video of its own, but Drake performed at that same concert with investigators believing the initial crush started with his arrival. Travis and Drake first learned about the tragedy while attending an afterparty at Dave & Buster's, a place frequently visited by Drake for some reason. Upon finding out, they immediately left the arcade to address the situation, Drake doing so by visiting the strip club to spend $1 million the night after, and then posting a heartfelt message on Instagram. It was better received than the subsequent Travis Scott apology that followed right before. 12 teams of attorneys representing over 1,250 people filed lawsuits against both Drake and Travis Scott, with most of it being settled by October of 2022. According to various reports, families of the injured and deceased were seeking an estimated $3 billion in total damages, but most settlement payments were undisclosed. In either case, it rarely put a dent into Drake's massive wealth, garnering an estimated 7.9 billion streams in the year of 2021, marking up 0.8% of all total streams, meaning he was played more than every song prior to 1980 combined. In December of 2021, Kanye West posted a video of him alongside Jay Prince apologizing to Drake, wishing to put aside their differences and to team up for a benefit concert in support of GD founder Larry Hoover. They really didn't look too happy during the photo op, but their concert was well received, going off without a hitch, however, doing little to get Larry Hoover out of prison. In June of 2022, Drake surprise dropped his 7th album, Honestly Nevermind, an album where, honestly, never mind, there's not too much to say about this album. He experimented with house music, not too many people liked it, but it was their loss. Her Loss, actually, a collaborative album from Drake and British rapper 21 Savage, with a lot of the groundwork being done by Lil Yachty, including producing several songs and coming up with the cover art. My own personal complaint comes with Lil Yachty, who used a lot of Shawnee Bin Laden style on this album. If you know, you know.
So I guess for the third one, who's like an up and coming rapper that ain't just crossed over so much yet, but you in tune with?
I've been fucking a lot of Shawnee Bin Laden.
Who?
Shawnee Bin Laden.
Oh yeah.
They went on a rather interesting press run for Her Loss, deciding to spoof promotional techniques such as a fake Cartier advertisement, a fake Tiny Desk concert, a deepfake Howard Stern interview, and lastly, their Vogue cover, which got them sued for violating copyright infringement, something the pair had to settle on. Her Loss also reignited the Kanye West feud when Drake admitted to having linked with him only for Jay Prince, leading to the eventual Like That remix by Kanye West.
Mr. West.
You can't say Drake wasn't a hard worker. He was streaming his gambling addiction, chasing women all the time, he'd make business connections at all-white parties, he was releasing new music on an almost yearly basis, and was preparing for his next tour, It's All a Blur, which became the highest grossing rap tour of all time, almost twice the profits of the next tour on that same list. In June of 2023, Drake had announced his poetry book, Titles Ruin Everything, coming to shelves near you. 168 pages of quotes like, "There are two types of women in this world, women who like giving head, and women who I don't like." According to reviews on Goodreads, this made me feel very confident about the poetry I wrote when I was 14. 25,000 likes. 25,000 likes. I'll go into debt right now and buy this book and some Virginia Black off eBay, and I'll review both on stream. But the book served as a first hint to his next studio album, telling his fans they might see the old Drake rap again, but don't tempt him, because he doesn't know how anymore. This trash-ass album cover made by his son Adonis was then revealed, with that coming the first single from the album, Slime You Out, being controversial for two reasons. In Mr. Right Now, Drake admitted to dating SZA back in 2008, prompting the singer to quickly unfollow him, but eventually they were cool. The controversy comes with the year, since SZA would have been 17 in 2008, and Drake would have been 22. SZA corrected the media, telling them they did date, but it was back in 2009, and that nothing underage happened. The other controversy came from his other lyrics, which I'm not going to repeat since it's misogynistic and weirdly racist, so not a great look for all the dogs. releasing a month after its first single, becoming his 14th #1 album in the country. At this point, Drake can shit in a cup, swirl it, and his fans would still listen to it. Some would even ask to drink it.
Man, what the f? It's just, this nigga Drake got a mother, got a hold on. Cover, see, close. Oh, shit. Close. Man, this shit crazy, man. Oh, man. Home, close. Yeah, what the fuck?
How many series?
Trash as
How many series did you win?
trash as
But how many series did you win though?
How many games I won?
One?
No, what? How many games I won? How many games I won? How many games I won? It's just how many games I won? I ain't gonna wait no more.
You owe me 60 bands, and you have to perform the song right now in the crib. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? I'm giving you an out. I'm not Baby. I'm not Boosie. You don't owe me no 2 rags, 5 rags. You owe me 60 bands. I'm playing the song right now. You ready? I need you. I need a full. You won't owe me no money right now. I swear. I need a full performance though. The real shit though.
Fat D is an unmemorable album. It's not thought out, it's carried by its features, he switched from house music to underground beats, plus the album felt like a continuation of the same song, but not in a good way. And 5 years down the line, you're not going to be talking about this album. You're not going to be having this music in rotation. And I don't say this as a hater, but because I watched Anthony Fantano's review on Fat D.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here.
Arguably one of the internet's busiest music nerds, Anthony Fantano has had his fair share of run-ins with Drake, most notably for his review of Honestly Nevermind, where he said it was not good, causing Drake to go on a rampage in Fantano's DM saying, "Your existence is a light 1, and that 1 is cause you are alive, and cause you somehow wiped a black girl. I'm feeling a light to decent 1 on your existence." His tantrum would yet to end as he sent private messages to the Melon acknowledging their differences, and weirdly sending him instructions on a vegan cooking recipe, which reveals 2 things: that he might still be vegan, and that he is potentially an AI. In May of 2024, a YouTuber by the name of... No, I'm just kidding. But in March of this year, Metro Boomin and Future released We Don't Trust You, kickstarting the rap civil war, leading to the Battle of the Bastards, where Kendrick claimed victory, ending the Great Rap War, and finishing off Drake's career without any mercy. You can check all that out in my last video and the aftermath video of the pop out. And that is all I have for you. What do you want? More from me? I don't have a life, so maybe. There's obviously a lot more that I missed, but I'm not joking when I say this. The original video was 5.5 hours long, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. There isn't really much else to say. We pretty much went over the important bits, and there's really 2 ways to look at all this. Drake didn't start at the very bottom, but he gradually worked his way out of middle class, becoming an actor/rapper, supporting his mother, and slowly building an empire with his friends. He became a household name, a global superstar, having millions of dollars, tons of platinum hits, and will most likely go down in the hip-hop history books for being one of the most successful artists of that genre. But there is another story. He was already popular from Degrassi. He was receiving help from ghostwriters like Nicholas F. and Quentin Miller, from big producers, from MTV. He's also an attention hog who truly doesn't want to give up the spotlight. He steals and appropriates from other artists. He's a terrible role model for his fans. He's also an alleged predator. He can't hold down a relationship. He's custom made a 42 diamond necklace symbolic of all the women he never got engaged to. He's parading around a rejection necklace. He's such a normal guy from the outside. Kind of relatable, kind of funny, sometimes a little goofy. But on the inside, he's a sad old man yearning for some love from someone that he'll instantly cheat on. A gambler who's betting he could bounce back from being called a pedo by half the world. Alright, let's see him try. How often is he home with Adonis? Have you ever thought of that? Not enough, because at this point, that is where he should be and should stay for the rest of eternity. After the whole war, he's still been releasing music, but it's been a downhill battle for him, with most of them either flopping or being ridiculed, like his Wagwan Delilah remix, that the Plain White Tees even hated. Both his recent collaborations with Sexy Red and Camila Cabello caused some controversy due to the strange nature of both songs. And even I don't care enough for the 100 gigs drop, unless y'all would like to see that on stream. So, that's it. Finally, oh my god, finally. My name is Spree. This has been the long night. If someone hasn't told you already, someone most likely hates you as you do someone else. If you like this video, please feel free to comment, subscribe for more videos. Share this one around, please. It took a really long time to make, and I hated every second of it. The next video is going to be something really different. I know I said this last time, but I really do mean it this time. I'm not a one-trick pony. I swear, I'm kind of interesting, okay? Please stay tuned, and...
Drake, Kendrick's better, bro.
Please, got some good stuff?
Yo, Drake, Kendrick's better, bro. Kendrick's better.
And as I'm tired of this nigga fucking with me and all this shit, man. So the fact that these niggas is coming together finally, because it's not just about the elimination of Drake, you know, it's like, like we're gonna tear the head off whoever they got that they thought was in control of all this shit.